Whitney Young football is on the air. We're joining you here, a lovely Friday night at the newly renovated Rockne Stadium on the west side of Chicago. I'm Barry Newman, joined with Scott Clayton. Scott, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. It's a beautiful night for football.
Absolutely. Great night for football. We have not been back at Rockne Stadium since the 2021 season when we played a state playoff game here against Willowbrook. If any of you were with us that night, you would remember that the game time temperatures and conditions were significantly different than they are tonight. And the field was different. We've got AstroTurf, synthetic turf. That was grass back then. The rain was coming down sideways. I think I busted out some Edmund Fitzgerald lyrics during the course of the game because the ship was sinking.
I was actually trying to forget that.
All right, so let's move on then. Let's not talk about that game. Let's talk about tonight's game with the 1-2 Whitney Young Dolphins coming here as the home team hosting the Curie Condors. Curie comes in at 0-3 right now, but both of these teams, I think again we've talked a bit in the past about how when you look at the regular season, it's 9 games, so it's easy to sort of look at a third and a third and a third. And that first third of the season for the Whitney Young Dolphins included Hope Academy, a top 1A team, and Morgan Park, who we played last week, who was ranked in the top, I think, 5 in the state at 5A, and also number 15 in the Chicagoland area. So those were tough games. Dolphins come in 1-2, but with a lot of energy, a lot of promise as they look forward to the second third of this season schedule with the Curie Condors. I have to say, Scott, I'm usually a little bit better prepared on our competition. A little bit of a busy life in my real life, my side job, my what I do, like to pay the bills this week.
To put food on the table?
Yep, so I didn't have a whole lot of chance to look at Curie film. This team, and I mean, I want to put it in context right now, because Curie is a program historically that is a very, very strong program. But they're struggling this year, and so they've lost their first 3 games. If you look back further, Curie had made the state playoffs 14 of the 20 years from 1999 through 2020, with 13 of those at the 8A level, so the largest level in the state. They finished with back-to-back 11-3 seasons in 2014 and 2015, and represented the Chicago Public League in the Chicago Prep Bowl in 2010, 2014, 2015. And so if you don't know that, the Prep Bowl usually played down in Soldier Field. It's the Catholic League champion versus the Public League champion. So Curie represented the Public League in 3 of those things. Let me jump to the interview I had with Coach Finger a couple days ago. So we talked a bit about both the Whitney Young Dolphins as well as his view of the Curie Condors coming into tonight's game.
I have to say, if that was you not doing a thorough job of research, I'm afraid to hear what a thorough job would have been, because that seemed quite thorough.
Oh, I've got more, Scott. So let's listen to Coach Finger.
I'm here with Coach Daniel Finger. Coach Finger, heading into week 4 right now. Give us your thoughts looking back. Tough Morgan Park game. Give us your thoughts coming out of that one.
Yeah, I mean, first thought is that they're really talented and good, and if Coach James over there keeps pushing them this season, they should make a really deep run in the playoffs, and, just impressed with their operation as a whole. But not overwhelmed by their skill, with all due respect. Really talented guys are going to play really high-level college football, but one thing I took away was, our guys can compete, certainly on the perimeter and in the trenches especially, but, we just didn't put it all together and allowed a few big plays to happen that kind of put us down early and make it an uphill climb, and we just weren't game plan for that last week, especially against a team with that kind of firepower. But saw a lot of really, really good stuff. Our motto all week last week was compete, and making sure our young people understand that, they're Whitney Young Dolphins. They are born and bred competitors, and they do it academically, they do it socially, they do it, with their jobs and in business, and certainly on the football field as well. So, I was really happy with the intensity and the mentality that our guys brought on the field, even if the scoreboard didn't really reflect it.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. Third of the way through the regular season, and thinking about it, you mentioned Morgan Park, a team that's going to make a deep run in their division. Hope a 1A team that's going to make a deep run or take home a state title in their division were two of your first three opponents. What have you learned from your team over these first 3 weeks, and what do you think this team has learned from itself during that time?
Yeah, I think sort of building on that last answer, I think, dating back a couple of decades, really, I guess, back to my day, there were certain guys who come to Whitney Young and maybe didn't grow up in certain areas or grow up playing football, and they hear the names, right? And they start, I know Shadur Sanders a couple weeks ago was talking about fearing names from big teams and because of their records, but, Morgan Park or Simeon or, Curie, even Phillips, these teams that have historically done well. And in the past, I think I haven't done a good job prepping our young people to sort of understand that they're up for that challenge, that they are competitors like that. And, I know the scoreboard didn't reflect it, but in terms of what our team learned about itself, guys came to play, man, and played violently and really fast. And that's something that it usually takes us a quarter or even two to warm up. And I think it did in week one, frankly. We didn't come out in that first half ready to play a team of that caliber. But against Morgan Park, man, our guys were ready to hit people. And when you have that kind of mentality and you can do it against a team like that, that's as talented as they are, it's been fun seeing our guys talk about how confident they are moving forward and how they're going to trust guys who really stepped up more and more. In terms of what I've learned, I didn't learn anything in that regard. I've known they've had it. Maybe I learned how to help them learn it a little better. And I've learned, that our guys have really grown up a lot, I guess. I've seen these seniors, they're constantly communicating with each other. They're constantly saying, all right, appreciate you, Coach. Hey, seniors, let's talk. Let's figure something out. And then they'll communicate a solution to a problem we've identified to me, and then I can run with it because they're invested and committed to that solution. And when you get a bunch of Whitney Young Dolphins investing in something, it's going to work out. And so I've learned that I can really trust these guys to lead themselves. And I think last year when we had so few seniors, that was tough. The coaches had to do a lot more, and you're trying to pull juniors up to that kind of level, and it's just hard to commit like that. But the seniors have really, they see the finish line, and they want it to be as far away as possible, and it's been really cool seeing them come together in that way.
All right, thanks. Curie Condors this week. Team coming in 0-3, but that can be scary as well, all right?
Yeah. Curie, they've got a couple city titles in the past 10 years. When I was in high school, we didn't beat Curie any of my 4 years. I know they're off to a rough start and didn't have a great year last year, but there's always going to be talent everywhere. I recently connected with Reese Fleming, who's the corners coach at Eastern Illinois. He and I played against each other when he was at Curie in high school, and then he played at the University of Iowa and then for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So they're always going to have talent, and they're going to be a good team. And just because their record is what it is after playing a Catholic League school and some decent public league teams, no reason anybody in our program should be sleeping on them, especially after we got beat the way we did last week.
All right. Thanks a lot, Coach. Appreciate your time. Go Dolphins.
Thanks, Barry. Go Dolphins.
All right. So that was Coach Finger giving his view on tonight's game. Scott, what's your view on tonight's game?
Honestly, not sure. I know based on the record, the fact that they haven't scored in their first three games, might be a bit of a letdown in the level of intensity from the Dolphins. I hope that's not the case. But, I know the history of Curie High School football, played against them, always a real tough, blue-collar work ethic, always hitting hard, always putting forth the best effort. So I really hope that the Dolphins don't take them lightly and really come out in much the same way they did against Morgan Park. honestly, I was impressed with the way they played against Morgan Park.
Yeah, agreed.
They shut down the run game
Absolutely.
almost completely, and it took big plays downfield with their athletes, their Division I talent, to beat us.
Yep.
And you never want to have a moral victory, but the Dolphins collectively really played hard, high level of intensity, and quite frankly, I was proud of the effort they put forth.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it was one of those games, again, when you mentioned shutting down the run game. So last night, Morgan Park played against Phillips, so a big-time Chicago Public League matchup that Morgan Park won 24-20 on the strength of their running game. So number 24, Lewis Clark from last week, who was bottled up by Nick Dale, Baba Nefesimi Opedele, Marcus Woods, and the rest of that defensive line and the linebacking core. I mean, Clayton was no slouch last week, and Jolich played a nice job at linebacker as well. But they bottled him up. They took care of that running game. Well, that's what Morgan Park leaned on last night in their win over a really strong Phillips squad. So interesting to see that, and yeah, I agree entirely with your take on that. And I think again, as Coach talked about not looking at the moral victories or things like that. I mean, we can, because we're the commentators. So just like the Hope game, I mean, we won the second half of that game, won it on the scoreboard, won it with total yardage, and so I think a lot of guys came out of that feeling good. I'll say this too, in thinking about like, hey, and they're going to have to prove it on the field, right? That they haven't looked beyond this opponent. I had the pleasure of going to the Packers-Bears game this week because as a Packers fan, it was a true pleasure. And I had Bennett Newman, Anthony Hood, and Jason Perez with me, of which Bennett Newman truly enjoyed the game. Anthony Hood was fairly indifferent. Jason Perez was a little bit miffed at the outcome. But on the way home, and just driving through traffic and things like that, we were in the car for a long time. All three of those guys were watching Curie film at the time and breaking down things and talking in detail about, both from an offensive and a defensive program of what they thought they would be able to do tonight. So I was happy to hear that.
Barry, as much as I like you, you never cease to just throw a little dig in there every game, knowing that I am a diehard Bears fan. So needless to say, I was not pleased, nor did I enjoy watching that whatever the McCaskies want to call that product they put on the field.
So let's Bennett looked at me, and as a lifelong Packers fan, he just had this smile on his face, and he was giggling as the Bears fans were booing the Bears in the third quarter. And he said, "It just can't get any better than this." He's also a big Jordan Love fan, so he liked that debut. And yeah, I would say it was, the city just felt angry that night. I mean, I was just out walking my dog after the game, and just people were just angry.
That is an apt description, and in a very ham-handed way in changing the subject, I'm going to go to the comment you made about giggling, because I have come to learn that there is a particular Dolphin lineman who, as he embarrasses much larger opponents, giggles throughout the process, and that is none other than Baba Nefesimi Opedele.
Well, that does not surprise me.
And I guess it's what led to a bit of the shoving match at the end of the Morgan Park game, as he proceeded to pancake one of the larger Morgan Park Mustang linemen. He instinctively giggled, which did not sit well with the opponent. And I actually had a discussion with him last night explaining why that was probably not the smartest thing to do, and he says, "I can't help it."
Yeah, well, he's just happy to be out there. There's a lot of joy in Baba Nefesimi Opedele, and it definitely comes out on the field. Also, just a sidebar at Rockne, I'm not sure if you can pick it up through our headsets right now, but we do have a public address announcer, and they're playing some tunes. They're playing the Monday Night Football theme music right now, so if you weren't already fired up about tonight's game, you can by listening to that soundtrack. Let me give you a few other updates for tonight on the injury front. We definitely have checking back in Tyson Hayes. So Tyson Hayes, outside linebacker, and probably see him in some offensive sets as well. The senior back after missing a couple games. Joseph Gray also back tonight, the sophomore linebacker and wide receiver. I had BG3, Barry Gordon III, listed as out, but I actually have seen him warming up. So we'll keep our eyes out for number 6 to see if he's on the field tonight. We will have Rico Antonio D'Alessandro out. I spotted him in street clothes. Darian Kostov out, and Brandon Dockett. Brandon had a really nice kick return last week, got dinged up in practice this week, and we may be missing him for a couple weeks here. And then also just not an injury front, but some family reasons. Luke Jolich is not at the game tonight, nor Brian Pantoja. So we'll try to be watching those spots on both offense and defense, where we will have some new Dolphins filling in. So again, the Dolphins 1-2. I also I talked to Coach Finger this week and asked him about how city playoffs are going to be working, and he said he received a 12-page document from the CPL regarding how these 4 different clusters, these 4 different divisions within Red are going to qualify things. And he said, quite frankly, I haven't had a chance to read it, so I don't really have it figured out. I think the key is just to win a bunch of games.
I think that's the safest bet.
Yeah, so it sounds like all of these CPS games. So tonight, this again is a Red Division, top division game against Curie. Curie is not within our cluster, but the idea is that we, all of these CPS games will count toward that record of being able to qualify for the city playoffs at the end of the year. And then within the cluster, a lot of that could be where the tiebreakers come. So our cluster, where we are in with Taft, Westinghouse, and Bulls Prep, will weigh into some of what goes on when we get through these next 6 weeks.
Looks like the captains are lining up for the coin toss.
Yeah, try to say that 5 times fast. So captains, Joseph Clayton, number 33, number 3, Anthony Hood, and also number 12, Bennett Newman. The game captains tonight for the Whitney Young Dolphins. Across the way for the Curie Condors, I'm going to try to start, I think, Dennis Calloway, I believe, is number 9. I saw him taking snaps at quarterback. So we do have a Curie Condors roster that has numbers and names, but I don't actually have we don't have the positions. So we're going to try to work on that throughout the course of the game.
The other captains were Jaden Ochoa and number 8, Jaden Ochoa, and number 12, Darius Townsell.
All right. And if I am standing here and actually watching the coin flip, I will break the string of 2.5 consecutive seasons of me not actually seeing what the flip was. I think they're looking at it, they're discussing it, they're looking at it longer, they're
flipping it again.
Flipping it again. What happened there? This is why I don't watch it.
Did it land on an edge?
Yeah, come on. It's the new Rockne Field. Maybe just swallowed it right up. So this is nice, being at Rockne, where there are numbers on the field. We didn't have that back in the day. Looks like the Dolphins won the toss and deferred to the second half, and Curie will receive.
Looks like
Dolphins will be kicking south to north.
Looks like they chose to go with the wind.
Yeah, let's see if there's some flags at the top, so there's a little bit of a breeze. We got the Dolphin fans filling in here on our side. Also nice out at Rockne, if you join us here later in the year, a new parking lot Very nice to be able to park in the parking lot. Previously, a very, very small parking lot that you couldn't get into because there's always a game before us. It was a good game today. All I cheer for in those games is not going into overtime. But that's just me. We actually, that was the before the Westinghouse game last year. That game went into overtime and sort of was messing with our mojo. Messing with our, it was just mojo. It wasn't Riz, was it?
I've been told I can't say that anymore.
Yeah, we've been catching a lot of flack in the team chat about our discussion of pop culture terms.
Yeah, I've been told under no uncertain terms, and not just by Joseph, by the way.
No, that's probably well deserved. I don't think Scott. I don't think you and I should be using terms like that. We should not be. When you don't have Riz, you shouldn't use the term. All right, so Dolphins out for the kickoff. We've got Miles Bardsma, the sophomore place kicker, defensive back, wide receiver out there, ready to tee it up. A few other guys, Will DeMille. I think we'll see a lot of Will DeMille, maybe on both sides of the ball tonight. Tyson Hayes, like I said, he's back. He's out there on special teams. Good to see him.
It's good to see Mach 5, Duhan on the sideline.
Mach 5, yep. So we'll see. He's been working that hamstring. He survived last week. I know that they were taking it easy on him in practice this week, so we'll keep our eyes on Quinn Duhan and Barry Gordon, BG3, also in uniform tonight. We'll see if we see those guys on the field. Bardsma's got it teed up.
Looks like we're ready to go.
And we are ready to go. Back deep for the Condors. Tough to see numbers. We'll get them after it lands. Bardsma kicks away. A line drive. Picked up by the up back at the 20.
That's number
nice
11,
pursuit.
Damon Butler.
And that's Tyson Hayes ushering him out of bounds. So, yep, Damon Butler on the return.
Let's get underway with the Dolphin defense. There is a new protocol in the Clayton household. Joseph is required to hydrate several days before each game now.
That's good. Let's get him. Let's not see the third quarter. I'll tell you something about that in the fourth quarter at the 6-minute mark. So Duhan, Hood at the safety spots. Number 26, Maxwell Warner at a corner along with Javon Hobbs, the senior, number 22. Linebacking core held down by Clayton. And it looks like Joseph Gray. Joseph Gray is in the starting lineup, middle linebackers. Tyson Hayes, number 4. Jason Perez, your outside linebackers. D-line, Nick Dale getting that penetration right off the bat. Number 12 brought down in the backfield by Gray. So that was good penetration. Number 12 was Darius Townsell, the ball carrier.
Got a loss of about 5.5 yards.
Yeah, so great push, and that's what we saw last week. Babanefasimi Opedele, Marcus Woods, and Nick Dale. Nick on the nose has just been eating guys up. So Curie Condors come out. They've got receivers, 2 receivers left, 2 to the right. Now they're bringing in to the right one of those receivers. So they've got trips to the left, running out of a shotgun with a single back behind the quarterback. Now he's going to go under center. Goes under center. They run a lot of option type of things. That's a straight handoff to number 2 and tackled on that side. Looks like Joseph Gray again. So Joseph Gray back after a couple weeks off of injury, the sophomore.
That was a really odd formation. That was a deep set by the tailback. He was a good 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, so it brings up 3rd and about 17, I think. 3rd and 17. 3rd and 17 for the Condors.
Some confusion with the equipment on one of our linemen.
Yeah, I don't know. The clock is running right now.
The official looked like he was doing something with our right end.
All right. So Condors with 3rd and long. Back to pass. Blitz coming. There's Gray again. Ball falls incomplete. Nice coverage over on this side by Maxwell Warner.
Intended receiver was number 8.
Actually, that was it was actually Jason Perez on the coverage. I saw 2 on it, but so Perez out of his linebacker position, sniffing that one out. So brings up 4th and long. Curie Condors will be in punt formation. Number 9, Dennis Callaway, back to punt. Back deep for the Whitney Young Dolphins is Anthony Hood.
I have a strange feeling about this upcoming play. I think something big is about to occur.
I think Hood definitely wants to take this to the house. They're also now bringing Nazir Rankin back, so two returners deep for the Dolphins. Callaway in punt formation. He punts it, doesn't get much. I think that was a really wise decision by whoever jumped in there, because it might have hit the back of Dominic Duenas, and I think that was Aaron Champion that jumped on it, either Champion or Harrison Gassa. And so I think you don't take any chances there. So a short punt puts the Dolphins at the 29 of the Curie Condors. Bennett Newman at quarterback. Looks like Maxwell Warner starting. Oh, that's Joseph, right? It is Joseph. Okay.
Clayton,
oh, he's going with the long sleeves tonight. Threw me off. So Newman waiting for the snap. He looks over, flips it to Rankin. Rankin had a lot of room and didn't secure the catch. He was running before he had the ball.
He had the ball. He had a lot of artificial turf and fresh air in front of him.
Yep, he certainly did. So we'll see if Curie counters on that. I think it's one of the things that the Whitney Young Dolphins saw on film is that there is some room for wide receivers to operate with those quick screens. So that's what Newman saw right off the bat. Flipped it over to Rankin. Didn't make the completion, but 2nd and 10. Hood. Flip to Hood. Hood staying alive. Looking for a seam. Across the 20. There's going to be probably a hold. There's a flag on the play. Yep, a hold against the Whitney Young Dolphins.
Call against the Dolphins.
I have to say, this sound system at Rockne is probably the best we've encountered.
Yeah. It's nice. I mean, everything is new out here, so really good sight lines for us, and yeah, we've got the CPS Chicago Public League announcer here that will drop in some music at some dead balls. So a holding call brings the ball back to the 39-yard line.
10-yard penalty, replay 2nd down. 2nd and long, Dolphins.
So the change in the rules that we mentioned the last couple weeks, no longer a spot foul. So a 10-yard foul, 10-yard holding call brings up 2nd and 20. So first play drop pass, second play holding on what would have been a nice gain for Hood. So this is where we talked like Dolphins got to sharpen up on their focus. Newman with the snap, looks over. He's got Rankin. That time Rankin takes care of things. A wrestle down after about a 12-yard gain off on the right-hand side. I think that tackle was made out there by number 3, Tyrese Hunt of the Condors.
3rd and 9, Dolphins.
So brings up 3rd down, 3rd and 9 for the Dolphins. So ran a little action with Hood and Rankin, 2 athletic receivers over on the right-hand side for the completion.
Would have liked to have seen a little bit of blocking out there. Might have picked up quite a bit more yardage.
Yep, so Hood now in single coverage to the left, trips to the right. Rankin in motion now to the left. Newman with the snap, blitz is on, flips it out to Clayton.
No, Clayton was in protection.
Okay, so that was, so I was just looking at sleeves, so that was to Joseph Gray. So completion to Gray, but no gain. So brings up 4th and 9. Thanks for taking care of me, Scott. I'm just struggling right now.
Looks like we're going for it.
Yep. So at the 29, talked about the wind. I think a wind to the Dolphins' back right now.
Coach Finger's playing the field position game. A
Yep.
little bit
So
too long for a field goal.
Gray, Gassa, Rankin to Newman's left, Hood to his right. Newman back. He's got time. He's got Rankin open. Just overshot him a little bit. I think Rankin might have, well, we'll have to look at that one on film. Looks like he could have maybe put on those Jets at the end there. But anyway, ball goes over on downs to the Curie Condors.
Sports can open roads to excellence is a staple of our commitment to our CPS.
So we've got 7:58 left here in the first quarter.
Please visit our website at
Curie, their second possession. First possession, Dolphins defense took care of business on the front end. Again, looks like Dale, Opedele, and I think it might be Juan Cepeda now in on the line. Curie waiting for the snap. There's a snap, quarterback, quick pitch over to number 4. Holy cow. That's Joseph Clayton, like a streak across the field. Orange streak.
Oh, orange blur.
Well, it's a blur, so a completion, but Clayton dumps the Curie receiver for a 3-yard loss. So again, Clayton.
I wonder if he giggled.
If he took a cue from his friend Babanefasimi Opedele. I'm not sure Joseph Clayton's giggling on the field. So 2nd and 13. High snap, whistle blows.
Looks like a flag dropped.
I think offsides on the Dolphins. So that will be, I was kind of surprised they blew it dead.
Right, I'm wondering why it was dead. He wasn't unabated.
But maybe we think too much about NFL rules. Every year in the off season, I pull up the IHSA rule book, and it just intimidates me, and I end up shutting it down again. So that was a 5-yard penalty, brings up a 2nd and 8 for Curie. Dennis Callaway, the quarterback for Curie. He's got the snap. He's waiting. He's looking. He's got a receiver off of number 3, Tyrese Hunt.
It initially went to number 2.
Yep, Jeremiah Montecure. Yeah, there were 2 Curie receivers sort of in the same vicinity over there. There's a little bit of a ricochet. So still 0-0 here early in the first quarter. 6:52 left in the first quarter.
It's 3rd and 8 now.
3rd and 8. Callaway, the quarterback. He's got 2 receivers to his left, 2 to his right, and a running back to his right. Again, we'll try to work on getting these names. Dolphins crowding in the box. Gray at the middle linebacker position. Tyson Hayes, number 4, is spying in. Curie's taking this clock down pretty far, although the clock's not moving, but the 40-second play clock. So Callaway wins it over and close to a first down. Catch made by Jeremiah Montecure.
About a yard to go.
Pass caught by Condors, number 2, Jeremiah.
Yep, so it's going to bring up 4th and a yard, maybe a yard and a half. Looks like they've got to get to the 40, so call it a full 2 yards. Full 2 yards. Looks like Curie might be calling a timeout.
Timeout, Condors. This is their first timeout.
All right, so looks like they had a bit of success. It looked like they saw something, and they signaled the play in. The slot receiver on the left seemed to be directing traffic. So we'll see if they're able to capitalize on that.
Yeah. So Coach Finger mentioned Curie started off the year. They had a loss in week 1 to Mather. So they lost to Mather 28-0. then took on Marmion after that, 40-0 loss. And then they had, we talked about Phillips facing off against Morgan Park. Phillips lost by 4 last night to Morgan Park. They took care of Curie last week, 54-0. So right now, we're trudging along here. Curie on their second possession. They've got 4th and 2.
4th and 2, Condors.
D-line of Marcius Woods, Nick Dale, Bobanefasimi Opedele. This is the Philly special now, right? Where they're trying to just get a push behind their line, and that went nowhere.
They were not successful. Who's on the bottom of that pile there?
Yeah, well,
like
Clayton
6.
in. Was it number was Barry Gordon in there?
It was Barry.
All right. So Barry Gordon checking in. Somehow they marked that as a first down for Curie.
Wow.
Okay. Well, that changes things. Well, anyway, here we go. First down, Curie Condors on a play that went backwards a yard or two, but somehow they gained 2.
Generous forward progress.
And maybe everybody at home. Remy's on the camera. I'm sure he had that view for all of you. So maybe you can tell us that we were all wrong on that. But we sort of saw it as a 4th down stop. But anyway, first down, Curie. Quarterback is number 9, Dennis Calloway. Looks like he's going to take this one under center. Under center. First down at the 40. Handoff. Met immediately. Tyson Hayes on the backside. But who made the initial hit? Was it
Clayton.
Joseph Clayton, of course. We're talking about violence on the football field, of course.
That was a violent collision.
Yeah, so I think definitely the linebackers are shooting hard on this, right? I mean, they just you've got Clayton and Gray, who've already made some great plays from their linebacker spots. But again, that defensive line, Marcius Woods, Bobanefasimi Opedele, looks like, I have to see who, I think Nick is out right now, so we'll see if, I think maybe Cepeda is in at the nose. But they're getting a really nice push, which is making things difficult for Curie and their offensive set. So 2nd and 8. 2nd and 8, looking to pass. Curie back to pass. Broken up nicely downfield by Quinn Duhan, number 5.
I think it might be argued that number 8 from Curie, Jaden Ochoa, broke that up. He shifted to a defensive mode. I think Quinn Duhan had a beat on that one.
That he did. So, but, Curie got protection that time for Callaway.
Yeah, they were successful in picking up the blitz.
So, 3rd down, 3rd and 13 at the Curie Condors 48-yard line. Let's see what the Dolphins dial up here. If they're going to bring some pressure, or they're going to play a little protection. That was Clayton right off the go, getting after it. Pass incomplete over to the side to number 2, Jeremiah Modicure. That was Jason Perez, number 52, in coverage. So I'm actually, I thought it was Cepeda in on the nose, but it was actually Boubacar Berry. So good to see Boubacar. I know that he got dinged up in that Morgan Park game, so Boubacar Berry was checking in on the nose on that. Again, 4th and long. We've got Dennis Callaway, the quarterback, also back as the punter. Rankin and Hood deep. That almost blocked and out of bounds with actually lost yardage on the punt. So I think they saw on this that there was an opportunity. Tyson Hayes and Max Warner were both there with the opportunity on a punt, on the punt block. They didn't get the block, but the punt didn't make the line of scrimmage. So maybe there was. Let's call it a punt block on that. We'll have to go back on the film and see if anybody got a piece. But they definitely made life difficult for Callaway.
Net positive play.
Yep. So let's see. Dolphins had a drop pass and a penalty on their first set of downs. Newman with Clayton next to him. Let's see what they can put together. Clayton with the ball. He is dragged down. Very little gain there. Dragged down by number 2, Jeremiah Montecure, and number 5, Bryant Johnson.
Loss of 1 yard.
So loss of 1 on the play. I know the Dolphins are going to try to get that run game going tonight. Something that they struggled in both the Hope and the Morgan Park games to get going. So 2nd and long. Saying I'll call it a loss of 2 on that. So Gray and Gassa, the receivers to Newman's left. Hood and Rankin to his right. Rankin, little jet sweep to Rankin. He's all the way across the 30-yard line. Forward fumble out of bounds on that. So a completed pass.
I have to say, with some of the licks being doled out by the Dolphins, I think attrition is going to start to set in on the Condor sideline.
Yeah, the Curie Condors do not have a lot of guys over there. So, I mean, if they've got 11 on the field, they probably have another 13 or 14 on the sideline. So that brings up a 3rd down. So it was a gain of about 8 yards on that. So 3rd down. Newman, the quarterback. 2 receivers left and right. He's got time. He's looking. He's got Rankin. Rankin dragging a man close to the 10-yard line.
So excellent pitch and catch. Rankin made that look easy.
Yep, so Rankin definitely, we've mentioned it. If you've got Nazir Rankin is a basketball player with 2 Division I offers on your bingo card. You can mark that. As a sophomore. As a sophomore. Wow. Yep, as a sophomore. So, referee coming in. Looks like Curie's going to take their 2nd timeout.
I think that might be the first sign of that attrition. The Dolphins are laying a little wood.
Yep, so 2:44 left here in the first quarter. If you haven't had a time right now, you know what's a good opportunity? Get yourself out your Sorelli's Italian beef sandwich. Maybe a beverage of your choice. Settling in to watch the Whitney Young Dolphins and the Curie Condors here on a beautiful Friday night in Chicago. We've got a great view of downtown from here.
Gary, I got to tell you, after the Morgan Park game, I was tempted to take one of the Sorelli sandwiches, but I could not bring myself to taking food out of a kid's mouth.
Well, it's always one of those things. You want to be hanging around the bus at the end, and you know, if a kid looks the other way, Clayton, you just get in there. I mean, we see Joseph Clayton's orange streak. We know where that speed comes from. So you just get in there and get your Sorelli.
His mother.
Get your Sorelli. So 1st down for the Dolphins at the 15. Hand off to Clayton. Clayton's got a lot of green in front of him. Clayton heading for the corner, making the turn. Touchdown.
Excellent run. I'm actually going to have to give him a compliment.
You should give him a compliment. That was really, really nicely set up. So, again, the blocking up front. On the right side, you've got Jason Perez and Baba Nefasimi Opadele, Nick Dale on the nose, Cepeda and Marcus Woods. So all those guys, and whoever was the wide receiver out on that side made a nice block as well.
Definitely.
Bardsma on for the extra point right now. Long snapper, 4-star long snapper, Ben Barrett. Von Conrad.
Penalty called against the Condors.
So, penalty against the Condors. I'm not sure what it is. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I thought it was maybe an extra guy in the field. I don't know. They must have
called
offsides. So, Bardsma on for the extra point. Snap, hold, kick, good. So Bardsma gets his varsity scoring career off with an extra point. His brother, Brian Bardsma, was the kicker and punter on last year's team. Miles is a sophomore, getting a lot of playing time on the JV side. and keeps the Dolphins perfect on the year in extra points. They're now 8 of 8 on extra points for the year.
How many CPS teams can claim that?
I bet none. Well, I shouldn't say that, but probably none.
I think it's safe to say none other than Whitney Young.
Yep,
That is an excellent statistic.
Yep. And so Fernando Lozano, the weapon, if you're out there, your legacy is strong. Bardsma had some distance on that too. So let's see if he gets an opportunity tonight to kick a field goal. Let me get a few of the other guys that are out there on special teams. Aaron Champion out on special teams. Champion played, I thought, a whale of a game last week against Morgan Park. He's been filling in for Joseph Gray, I think even playing Gray or Tyson Hayes' spot. And he did really, really nice the last couple weeks. So you got Will DeMille. You got Gray, Tyson Hayes. Also number 51, Iakunle Alan Espinoza out on special teams. So Bardsma's kick bounces across the 20, picked up by the Curie Condors there, and immediately tackled.
I was a little worried there. I thought it might go out of bounds.
So that tackle was by number 34, who, let's see if we have him.
We do not.
Devander Shoemaker.
Ball marked at the 21-yard line.
Could be.
1st and 10, Condors.
I hope if Devander Shoemaker, if your family's out there watching, you made a heck of a play. If that in fact was you wearing number 34, nicely done on the kick coverage for the Whitney Young Dolphins. Oh, I forgot to put the score on the board. Sorry, guys.
I think you can be forgiven for that.
Oh, I actually have to do a little bit of work here to
We were all caught up
that
in the
appear.
excitement.
There, how about that? All right, so first down. Motion man for Curie. Handoff.
That play was
Swallowed up.
Clayton, and who else was in on that?
Loss of yard.
I think was it Perez?
I don't.
Oh, and here I put while I'm doing this, let me actually give the score to the correct team here.
It was Clayton and Gray.
All right. All
I got
right.
to tell you, the D-line and the linebackers have had a streak of really good games so far.
Yep. Yeah, and Coach talked about that too. Like, I really think that now, well, and I like the asterisk on that. I did see that Morgan Park was missing a couple of their offensive linemen, but man, they just they were inflicting their will last week. So I think again you got Boubacar Berry on the nose against Perspectives. That line of Dale, Boubacar, and Opadele really did some work. That was illegal motion on the Curie Condors. I think their right guard jumped off sides or had an illegal motion. I think that was Miles Jones, the actually left tackle out there.
I wonder if Opadele was lined up over and giggling.
Could have been giggling. That can always throw you off, you know. If you're not ready for that D-line giggle.
Joseph described it as Elmo.
Well, that I could hear that too. So Curie first and long. That should be second and long. That I think again was Gray. The linebackers are having a feast tonight.
They are really making it difficult for this Curie run game.
Loss of 2 yards. Third and
Good.
long.
So third and long.
Rankin came in as
Yep.
Opadele came out.
Yep. So Dolphins putting in probably a dime package here. They're going to a deep safety look. Deep safety look with Hood on the left, Rankin in the middle, Duhan on the right-hand side of that defensive backfield. Clayton and Gray again holding down the middle. Javon Hobbs, number 22, on the left side corner, and I think that's probably Maxwell Warner over there on the other side. Might have been Max on that tackle the last time too. Again, I'm kind of pretty far away here, so sometimes making my call on the orange sleeves, but I think everybody picked up a nice orange sleeve, long sleeve base layer this week. So they're all, so end of first quarter. Not the fastest paced game in the entire world, I've got to say right now.
But we are not going to complain. Things are going well for the Dolphins.
Yep, so Dolphins up 7-0. Defense has been dominant so far. If you're just joining, Joseph Clayton. What was that, Brian? What was that touchdown run? About 15 yards, right? 15-yard touchdown run for Clayton. Getting the Dolphin running backs off the schneid on the year on rushing touchdowns.
That is an excellent point. I'd forgotten that.
Yep, so the only rushing touchdown, and this is the last time I'll mention during the year, was by quarterback Bennett Newman in the Perspectives game. If we want to look, and we'll throw you some stats coming into today's game. Newman on the year, 25 of 51 for 375 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. So, again, those 2 interceptions were actually in the first half against Hope. So, since then, 5 halves of football and a quarter without an interception. Leading rusher coming into tonight's game was Jolich, 19 carries for 71 yards. Again, Jolich not at the game tonight for family reasons. Leading receiver coming in for tonight, Anthony Hood, 6 receptions, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns. Rankin leads actually in number of receptions with 8. Rankin's got 8 catches, 100 yards on the year with 1 touchdown. And we'll have to keep watching. It was already 8 different receivers for the Dolphins have caught passes over the first 3 weeks of the season. And I look back, and that was as many as caught passes all of last year. So coming up third and a very long way. So 2 loss of yardage plays and a penalty on the Condors. Brings up third and long. They're got some time to pass. There's Tyson Hayes for a safety. Waiting for the official signal, and there it is. Hayes just back after missing a couple games from his outside linebacker position. Good coverage by the Dolphins downfield, and then Hayes collected the 2-pointer.
I have to say, watching the defense just, come out of the huddle, walk around the field, there's a looseness and almost a swagger to them. They're definitely having a good time.
Yep, having a good time tonight. We're having a good time tonight. So, actually, in that first quarter, what Curie did lead in was time of possession. So, Curie had the ball 8 minutes and 21 seconds in the first quarter. Whitney Young, 3 minutes, 39 seconds. Total yardage in the first quarter, Curie minus 12. Whitney Young, 38. So 38 yards. Clayton, actually, it was Curie. I was looking at the notes here. Curie, 6 rushes for minus 16 yards. So the Dolphin defense definitely taking care of business. Seeing Rodney Dale check in here. So the dad of Alex Dale and Nick Dale. Alex moved in at Northwestern this week. So Rodney sporting that purple Northwestern hat. You like that, right, Scott? You just
love to see it.
So yeah, I was sort of, I don't know if Alex is here tonight. I was hoping he wouldn't be in some ways. I
have not seen him.
So his first week as a college student, I think, should be spent on campus and not with all of these Dolphins who look up to him tremendously, the big brother to this entire team. But Alex, enjoy your time up at Northwestern.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do. It's a short list. All right, the kick is away. It's by Rankin, so Rankin's going to have some time to pick this up. So pick it up, Nas. Oh, blocking the back, although maybe not a call. So Rankin, and there's a call. Yep, so Rankin is still on his feet. Going to be tackled at the 50-yard line.
It's kind of obvious. I'm surprised the referee didn't call it, but the linesman did.
So I think actually there might have been a fumble at the end of the play. So Curie's jumping out of there with the ball.
The signal is they have it.
Yep, so Rankin fumbled at the end of that play. So not only a flag that was going to bring it back anyway, that'll be declined, and Curie will get the ball
at the 50.
At the 50, or maybe nudge slightly into Dolphin territory. Yep, so right at the 50. So Rankin, a really nice return on that after the ball got by him to start with, but then fighting for additional yardage at midfield. The ball came loose, and Curie is going to take over. Anthony Hood checking over. I think it was an equipment issue, so Will DeMille goes in for Hood. So DeMille checking in at a deep safety spot again. Duhan and Hood have been playing all game at safety. We'll get a timeout that might have been the Dolphins just after sort of the back and forth of Hood checking out. I think it was an equipment issue with Hood and DeMille coming in. I didn't see the signal, but I'm going to assume that it was a timeout for the Dolphins, their first of the first half.
Yeah, there wasn't a signal, and there was a somewhat, I don't know if it was heated, but there was a discussion between the officials and Coach Finger, so not 100% clear what was going on there.
Yeah, I wonder if Coach Finger was talking about Rankin being down before that ball came out, because I mean, I might have taken my eyes off of it because I was looking back at where the flag was, because I was thinking the play was over and I was trying to calculate where we would be starting from. So I wonder if that's what Coach Finger was discussing with the referees. Coach Finger, who keeps himself on good terms with the refs, but not afraid to speak his mind.
He is an advocate for his team.
That he is. Still, I don't think real happy with whatever explanation he got. So Dale back in. Nick Dale at the nose. Looks like Baba Nefesimi Opedele, maybe Cepeda in there. So you get a good view here. Curie, great penetration, but Curie gets the edge. And across the 45 to the 43-yard line, so pickup of 7. So there was great pursuit on the backside. I think Clayton made the tackle eventually. There was pursuit on the backside from Tyson Hayes again, but Curie was able to put it together. I think that might have been.
I wondered if fatigue is starting to be a factor for the Dolphin defense.
Well, as we just said, I mean, they have been on the field a lot. Their scoring drive was quick, and now the turnover after the safety keeps them out on the field. So 3 receivers to the left for Curie and quarterback Dennis Callaway. Running back directly to his right. Callaway back to pass. He's got some time. He's still looking. Now Nick Dale says, no way you don't have that much time. Nick Dale, Baba Nefesimi Opedele teaming up on that sack.
I couldn't see it, but it looked like Curie tried to pick up one of the rushers, and whoever was doing the blocking ended up on his face. There have been some violent collisions in this game.
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins are flying around, so that takes the ball all the way back into Condor territory. So that was a loss of 8 down, 8 yards on the sack by Nick Dale and Baba Nefesimi Opedele.
So now we got 3rd and 11.
3rd and 11, and a lot of so we'll see if the Dolphins drop back a little bit more in a coverage situation here. Looks like 3 on the line. There's a flag coming in. I think 2,
delay of
4,
game.
6, 8.
The signal was delay of
so
game.
Delay of game, which I'm more than happy if they want to keep that clock going, because it's Curie has taken a long time on each of their plays. So that backs the ball up another 5 yards. So they need to get to the Dolphins, across the Dolphins 40 for a first down. So 3rd and about 17. Callaway back to pass. He's got a receiver, but Joseph Clayton immediately there ushered Jaden Ochoa to the turf after a 4-yard gain. So nice coverage by the Dolphin defense. Punt team coming on. So there have been maybe a punt block or a punt deflection last time.
For a net gain of a yard.
Yep. So we'll see if somebody can get home. I'm sure the Dolphins special teamers would like to pick up a few stickers for their helmet with a block punt. Rankin and Hood are deep. They're at the 30. Wind behind Callaway, the punter. There was motion, I think movement by number 12, Darius Townsell. Max Warner was one of those guys who wanted that punt block. He's ready, raring to go off the right-hand side. He was just going on first movement, which was before the ball was snapped.
Gotta like that quick twitch reaction.
Yep. So Callaway backed up.
Encroachment.
There's now a disagreement because the first official came in and said illegal motion, and they marched it off against Curie, and I don't know which official actually thought it was so they thought Max Warner moved first, and that's why the Curie Condor moved. Regardless, it's 4th and 8, and a fake punt, and it looks like he's going to have enough yardage to pick up that first down. So Curie, number 5, Bryant Johnson, took off running on that one, and the Dolphins were not keyed in on that, which is a little surprising. I mean, I think that's after getting the yardage marked off and you're in Dolphin territory on that punt, that seemed like something we should have been watching out for, but we weren't. So Curie with a first down in Dolphins territory at the 36-yard line. Dolphin defense is taking care of business so far. I'm not taking care of business on my job on marking what quarter it is. So second quarter, 7:42. Clock moving right now. Dolphins up 9-0. Clayton touchdown run. Extra point by Miles Bardsma. And then a safety. Tyson Hayes sacking Callaway in the end zone on the last Curie possession. But Curie now on the drive. There's a handoff. And tackle up the middle. Jason Perez cleaning it up on the backside.
It's like a gain of 4.
Yep, gain of
3.
Gain of 3 or 4. So I think Perez and Hayes from his, they call it the jack position. Hayes from the outside linebacker jack position with the tackle. He's had a nice game already, coming back after being out for a couple weeks.
And Curie isn't disguising anything. When he lines up underneath center, it's typically a run play, and with the 4 wideouts now, my guess is it'll be a downfield pass.
All right,
if not a screen.
We'll see if you're right. Callaway back to pass. He's got a receiver. Ball comes out, so dropped pass over on the side. Actually, I mean, Callaway is he's got some zip on the ball. He was shooting it over there to Jeremiah Montecure. Could not bring it in. The Curie now back to the line, so they're running a little tempo, which we very much appreciate. I'm sure you all appreciating. So put down the Sorelli sandwich and lock in on the action on the field right now. 3rd and 7. 3rd and 7 for the Curie Condors. They've got receivers, Tyrese Hunt, number 3, and number 8, Jaden Ochoa to the left, 2 receivers to the right. Running back, that's Ochoa in motion. That's going to be probably,
I believe it's
we'll
motion.
See if they, a false start. So I was hoping that they weren't going to take mercy on the Curie Condors again, because Clayton, after he saw the motion, was jumping across.
Well, he didn't jump across. He faked a blitz, and he as he stopped, he slapped hands with his teammates. I think that was intentional.
All right, we'll have to see if there's some chicanery afoot from Joseph Clayton at the inside linebacker position. There he was faking it again. Pressure by Opadele. Nice.
Excellent coverage.
PBU. I think that was Tyson Hayes over there. Hayes is having quite a game. So that was Hayes in coverage with great position. Knocked the ball away from the intended receiver. Looks like Curie is going to take another timeout. So Curie will take their third and final timeout of the first half. So if you're just joining us, or even if you're not just joining us, 6:06 left in the first half. 9-0 lead for the Dolphins over Curie.
That was an interesting couple of plays in that sequence. I think that fake blitz really threw the Curie offensive line off.
Yep, so Clayton's made that move the last 2 times up. Game is kind of funky right now because with the safety in there and then the fumble on the kickoff, I had the stats that we had said that the Dolphins only had the ball for 3 minutes in the first quarter. They haven't had the ball at all in the second quarter. So only 2 possessions right now for the Whitney Young Dolphins offense. That's the bad news. The good news is that they are up 9-0, and the defense has looked good against Curie. They've gave up a first down on the fake punt, and I think one other first down so far. So Callaway, 4th and 12. He's leveled.
And he's not
by
getting up.
Joseph Clayton. So Clayton, I don't know if it was a delayed blitz or just a straight-out blitz, but Clayton took care of Dennis Callaway all the way back to
I might have to find Callaway's parents and issue an apology.
Curie 47-yard line. That was, again, Clayton, and we said it against perspectives. I still can't believe that the kid is 165 pounds. So about 5'8", 165, plays about 6'8",
250.
Yeah, plays 250. I'm not sure 6'8". I think more like a Sam Mills kind of build. So Newman in a quarterback. Handoff to Clayton. Clayton, great block there on the side. Clayton across the 40 for a first down. I think that might have been Babanefasimi Opedele on the pull. Somebody off of the Dolphins line took out an edge on the Curie Condors. So 12-yard gain. 12-yard gain. Clayton already with a touchdown run today. Now another nice run. As we said, we're sure that the Dolphins are going to want to try to establish this run game today. Newman, the QB, he's back to pass. He's got a lot of time.
All day.
He's got tons of time. He's still working it. At some point, he's got to find somebody. He's got to throw it away. Now he finds Clayton. So Newman and the offensive line kept that play alive for trying to work that time of possession back. And then Newman kept his eyes downfield. And Clayton eventually out of the backfield caught the first down catch, taking it to the Curie 23-yard line.
Ball marked to the 23-yard line. 1st and 10.
So again, Opedele, Cepeda, Dale, Woods, and Jason Perez doing their job up front. Clayton gets the ball, picks up about 3 yards across the 20-yard line. I think we've got a player down now for Curie. So player down, so the clock stops. This clock should stop. Took the referees quite a bit of time to get to it, but they got to it with 3:59 left here in the first half.
A Curie player came up with the ball, but I think they ruled him down.
They did. So Dolphins ball at the 20 when we get back. Game like this, we almost need additional sponsors so we can do some shout-outs. I mean, you can never have enough Sorellis. And what else are we going to do? We burned a lot of stuff in the pregame. We can't talk Bears-Packers, right? Eagles, you watched the game last night?
I did not. I was otherwise occupied. For one thing, I had a doctor's visit where I had to fast and didn't have anything to eat. I really could have used the Sorelli sandwich yesterday.
Absolutely. Oh, that sounds terrible.
Until about 5 o'clock, so suffice to say, I was pretty much a zombie.
All right. So, yeah, Eagles, Vikings. So, at least the NFC North We got to watch the Detroit Lions out of that division right now.
Definitely.
Vikings off to a slow start.
How about those University of Colorado Buffaloes?
Yeah, I mean, they're for real. Coach Prime is for real. So 2nd down and 8. 2nd down and 8.
Looks like Max Warner's in the backfield with Newman.
Newman flips it out to Warner. Warner looking for that edge, and he's going to get there. 1st down to the 12. Newman's going to want that marked as a pass completion. Tony McHale always compiles stats, and one of his comments to me is like, hey, can you make that a little more obvious? Can you tell 12 to make that pitch more obvious if he's throwing that backwards or forwards? Bennett, without a doubt, is going to tell me that one was forward. It was close, though.
It was definitely forward. That was a pass.
All right, so completed pass to Max Warner. Warner stays in the game. 2 receivers to Newman's left. Handoff to Warner right up the middle.
Right up the middle.
Warner still with the legs churning. Pickup of about 6 on that play, I think.
Now, talk about not disguising anything. You had 2 receivers split out to the short side of the field.
Yep. And I think Gassa in at that
6-yard run.
at the H position, so the sometimes split out, but sometimes on the line as like a tight end. So 3 minutes left here in the first quarter. 9-0 lead for the Dolphins on the drive. Ball inside the 10-yard line. 2nd down. Newman, the quarterback. Handoff. Maxwell Warner again picking his way. Talk about Max as being a all-American level triple jumper, and somebody said he runs like he is triple jumping, and that was it, right? A little step, a little hop, a little skip.
A little skip. Finished
So
it off.
did a really nice job. Didn't quite get to the 1st down marker, so it's going to be 3rd and 1. 3rd and 1.
Let's see if the Dolphins can cash in on this red zone visit.
Yep, absolutely. You want to put points on the board here on 3rd and 1. So wide receivers, Will DeMille. Oh, actually Gray and Gassa. Newman with
Newman on
the
the
run.
run.
Newman still churning.
And he got it.
He's in there for a touchdown.
How about that?
I think they just wanted the 1st down, but Newman kept it rolling in for the touchdown. So Bennett Newman's 2nd rushing touchdown on the year.
Without an assist on the push, that was a legitimate
Well,
run. I don't think you cannot discount that run.
I didn't discount the first run. I just the pad level isn't necessarily super low, but he gets the job done. Legs kept turning.
Legs kept
churning in for the touchdown. Ooh, and that was a misstep, but Von Conrad
Is that
as the I'm not sure if that was a designed fake. Well, again, at home, if you were watching it, you might have had a better view of it. But Von Conrad, I think this snap might have been a little high. Let's see. I think that they might be calling ineligible receiver because I think that that we probably had somebody catch that with a 50 number on it who was not reported as eligible. I think that's what ended up happening on that. I think it was Alex Ashesky who made the catch, but Alex, I think, was not a guy in the end of the line.
Oh, I think they're saying Conrad caught it while his knee was still down.
Oh, yes. Okay. So that's one of the nuances that's really tough in having a fake kick using your holder in high school football because a knee is down, right? I guess it's the same thing in college, right? It's if your knee is down and you have possession of the ball like he did, then he's down and they called it down. Well, anyway, it was a fun-looking play. Fun-looking play for the Dolphins, but they do not convert, which at least it's not a missed extra point. It's just a failed conversion attempt. So the Dolphins still stay perfect on extra point attempts, kicking attempts on the year.
Have you ever worked in politics, Barry?
No, but my brother has, and he's taught me a lot over the years. And it's all about the way you present things to your public, right?
Positive spin.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Doug Newman, thanks for all of that out there. I know you're listening tonight. See your nephew with a touchdown run, putting the Dolphins up 15-0. 1:53 left here in the first half.
Speaking of brothers listening, I actually received a compliment from mine. Oh, he took that.
So Bardsma kicked it to the left-hand side. Condors couldn't control it as they were going out of bounds. So that Curie will take over on the 28-yard line. So finish your story. Sorry, Scott.
No problem. I guess I have to, give your brother a shout out. Shout out to Todd Clayton. We didn't talk about it last week, but a graduate of Morgan Park High School.
Oh, right. Morgan Park, okay. So you were a De La Salle guy.
De La Salle Meteor.
All right. And your brother was Morgan Park.
Morgan Park Mustang.
All right. Just the two of you?
Older sister, but grew up in Ohio.
Okay, all right. We're getting the full family tree. We'll put the Clayton family tree together here later. If you have the Clayton family tree on your bingo card, you've got that going for you. So Curie, 1:52 left here. They're out of timeouts. The Dolphins are not out of timeouts. Tyson Hayes blowing in from the left-hand side, but Curie keeping his feet alive. Number 5. Number 5, Bryant Johnson.
Giving him the first down.
So first down.
Minute 40 left.
So Hayes was blowing in from the right-hand side, but couldn't quite catch up with Johnson. And Johnson did a nice job, got himself a first down. Curie at their 39-yard line. Minute 30 left here in the first half. Callaway, the quarterback. Callaway looking left. Incomplete pass out there, intended for Jeremiah Montecure. I think we had, looked like Clayton and Perez. Perez in coverage over there from his linebacker position. Taking those little flips from the backfield. So Boubacar Berry, Babanefasimi Opedele, Marcus Woods in on the line right now.
Got trips left.
Yep. Dolphins showing some tight coverage. Callaway back to pass. There's some pressure, but he does have time. He's going to tuck it. Bounces off Perez, but then Nasir Rankin takes care of business. Perez isn't going to be happy that he didn't get to the tackle.
Multiple flags on the play.
Flags at the end. Not quite sure what that'll be. We'll have to find out what that's all about.
Looks like number 50 for Curie is not happy about the call. Waiting for the signal from the referee.
All right, so looks like conversation going on between the white hat and the black hat on the referee team. Tony McHale, that's for you. Always call him the white hat. So unsportsmanlike conduct on both sides. All right, so offsetting penalties. Always interesting talking to these guys after the game. Like, we're up here safely tucked away in our live streaming booth a long way away from the field.
Dolphin timeout.
Things can get kind of chippy down on the field. And you hear that after the game. It's like, oh, yeah, every play I got slapped in the back of the head. Like, wow, I look fine from where I was.
Yeah, I'm especially curious now to find out if Bobble was giggling.
Yeah, if it's a giggle there, I don't know where that came in, but so it'll be 3rd and long. So Coach Dan Finger busted out the timeout. He's got one more timeout left here. So if the Dolphins can get a spot, they would give themselves an opportunity to go on, put their 1 minute their 1 minute crew out on the field and see if they can put on some more points. Again, 15-0 here in the first half.
Baba's dancing. Baba was dancing.
Well, he can dance. I mean, he's a good dancer. If you've seen some Instagram stuff, Baba can he can cut it, man. He can cut it up. So 3rd and 10. Callaway, as the QB, looks like he's under center. Scott Clayton has earlier told us that will mean it's a handoff. He fumbles the snap and his knee is down, so the ball is down and Coach Finger takes his last timeout. So we have now exhausted all of the timeouts in the first half. We're cruising in at about an hour after this first half of football.
So given that it was a loss of 1 yard, does that technically count as a sack?
Good question. It's always like that. It's the good garbage sack. Now, because his knee is down and the play was blown dead, I don't think that you can get credit for a sack on that.
Fumble and recovery. So I noticed that Nick Dale was back in with the nose.
Yep, so rotating through that D-line. Usually Baba Nefesimi Obadele, number 55, will not come off, but Cepeda, Nick Dale, Boubacar Berry, Marquise Woods, all sort of rotate in some of those other line positions.
Looks like 4th and 11, a minute 2 left in the first half.
So I think earlier in the game, Callaway was lined up as the punter, but Bryant Johnson is now lined up as the punter. He converted the fake before, so be interesting to see if the same, definitely lined up in punt formation, but watch for the fake again. Johnson hesitated, but then got it away. Anthony Hood corrals it at the 35. Anthony looking for some blockers, taken down nicely by the punter, Bryant Johnson. Bryant Johnson came up and tackled Anthony just inside the 45-yard line. So they're going to put it on the big line at the 45. So Johnson, the punter, and the tackler. Hood with a nice return, though. Think about a 20-yard return on that. So 55 seconds left.
Looks like there's an injury. Tyrese Hunt for Curie. Limping off. He made it to the sideline.
All right, so I see Quinn Duhan checking in on offense. So we haven't seen him on offense since coming back from his hamstring injury. Newman waves Rankin to the side. Newman with time again, with a lot of time. So he's got to have somebody come back to the ball. He's got Rankin. Nice pitch and catch. Great job down the right-hand sideline.
That's a Dolphins first down.
I was going to say they didn't stop the clock right away.
So 42 seconds left. If job by Rankin finding a spot there. Not really watching what Curie is doing from a defensive perspective. If they're matched up in sort of a soft zone, I think they were only. Let's see if they bring some more pressure. They do bring some more pressure. So they've got Clayton with the ball. Clayton gets tackled after a gain of about 5 or 6 yards over on the side. And I had the Dolphins out of timeouts, but apparently they didn't. There was something happened in that first in the first quarter, and maybe there wasn't a timeout.
It was an official timeout.
Oh, it was an official timeout because there was an equipment issue when Hood came off. So I think that's our story, and we are sticking to it.
Definitely.
So Coach Dan Finger still had a timeout in his pocket, which allowed them to use the running play. Bardsma looked good on his first extra point. I wasn't watching in warm-ups to see what he would be good from. Right now, a little too far. Right now you're talking about a 47-yarder, probably not in his pocket, but we'll see if the Dolphins can pick up some more yards here with the time that Newman's been getting, although that time they definitely were lining up more. I think that Curie finally said, hey, we can't rush 3, and and give Newman 10 seconds back there to find an open receiver.
So far this first half, as the Dolphins' defense has been stout.
Yes, they have done their job on the defensive side of the ball. Let's see if offense can cash in.
Gain of 5.
Not quite in the red zone.
Dolphins.
Nope, at the 29-yard line. Again, 32 seconds left, first half. Newman, quarterback, Clayton behind him. 2 receivers left and right. There's some pressure. Newman going deep to Hood. Just out of the reach of Anthony Hood.
3rd and 5. Dolphins.
That'll bring up 3rd and 5.
Wonder if,
Anthony had a couple steps there.
Wonder if that pressure kind of rushed Newman.
Newman did have to get it out there quicker than what he's had to. So brings up a 3rd down.
26 seconds left. Should he notch the first down and go to a hurry up, or
So
go for it all?
Duhan, Gassa, Rankin, receivers to the right, Hood to the left. Hood probably in one-on-one coverage. Newman rolling to his right, looking downfield. He's going deep to the end zone. Touchdown, Quinn Duhan. Duhan got behind the coverage and just enough air under that ball for Newman to connect to Duhan.
Clayton had a, I guess, kind of a de facto block. He got in front of the rusher and just slowed down.
So Eddie Boucher had Newman roll out to his right. And Duhan, who I'm going to now chalk up, because I think that, again, back to my obscurity, my obscure stats. So that gives us our 9th receiver with a reception on the year.
Spreading around
Duhan with his first, Duhan's second leading receiver on last year's team, but with the depth on this year's team, trying to just have him not play every single down of the game. And so Duhan, who also missed some time with a hamstring, was back in there, catches that pass from Newman. So, yeah, last year, Duhan, 22 catches, 241 yards, and a touchdown. So he adds another touchdown to his varsity total tonight.
The injured Condors up, and I can't tell if it is Callaway or Ochoa. I believe that's number 8.
Yep, so 8 is Jaden Ochoa. So Ochoa was back. It looked like he had an opportunity for the interception and is hopping off the field with an ankle injury, I think. So we'll see. We'll see if we can get back, keep our perfect record going. I mean, I'm just jinxing the heck out of us right now, right? I mean, this is entirely my fault if we miss this extra point. So Barrett, the snapper.
Piece of cake.
Conrad, the holder. Bardsma drilling it through there for the extra point.
Whitney Young leads 22.
He had another 15 yards on that.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I'm kind of excited. I hope we have an opportunity to see Miles Bardsma kick a field goal tonight, because he I don't know what club was that.
I don't know. That might have been a 6-iron.
You think it's 6-iron? I don't. You think it was like it looked kind of like a hybrid to me.
I'll give you that.
Okay. Looked like some sort of hybrid. A hybrid, maybe. What do you got? What do you got? What hybrids do you have in your bag?
Alien wedge. That thing almost goes up 90 degrees.
We are having some fun tonight. 22-0. Whitney Young leading the Curie Condors with 18 seconds left. I know you're all gearing up for a big halftime show. The wave has hit Rockne.
That was more like a ripple.
It was a ripple, but it was still Rodney Dale executing the wave in front of us. That was well done. That was kind of exciting.
Got a little Usher and little John going.
Bardsma kicks it to the 30, down there. Oh, yeah, well, that's...
Play to the whistle, play to the whistle.
Yeah, and it was sort of a delayed whistle. Kind of want to take care of the Curie Condors right now. They don't have a whole lot of extra guys on the sideline, but that was...
Everybody trying to get a piece of the action.
Yep. And I think that was Lorenzo Rivas, I think, down on the hit. So it was, again, what we had talked about. Knee was on the ground and trying to pick that up, but the referees weren't super aggressive in blowing that dead. So Lorenzo did what you should do, right? Yeah, play to the whistle. So Curie takes over. 14 seconds left in the first half. Curie down 22-0. Still looking for their first touchdown on the year. I don't want to bring it up too many times, but...
Not just touchdown, points.
Points, yes, exactly.
Let's see here.
I want to check if that's... Looks like it might be a... Oh, yeah, that's still Callaway as the quarterback. They're waiting for a player to get on field, waiting for their 11th. So he's got a running back behind him now. That's number 12, Darius Townsell. Callaway on the run. And that tackle by Tyson Hayes will bring us to the end of the first half. So halftime here. Dolphins leading 22-0. We'll get Brian Barrett to start queuing us up some stats from the first half. I'm going to move over to my halftime folder. So let's start out, talk about some other Whitney Young teams in action this week. JV football suffered a loss, a 12-6 loss against Lincoln Park. Von Conrad had the touchdown pass in that. So Von, we've seen tonight as the holder, pass to Miles Bardsma, our kicker tonight. So Conrad to Miles Bardsma. It was a 4th and 15 play for a touchdown. We gave up 2 long passes on the day, so Coach O'Donnell overall happy with the way the team performed, but still want to stack some wins on the JV side. I know they're very positive on a number of the young guys there. That young line, who a lot of those guys have also seen some action here on the varsity side, are going to put together themselves a nice career as the Whitney Young Dolphins. Flag football. So flag football, I think 2 wins last weekend and a win earlier this week against Simeon. So the wins over the weekend were dominant performances. So beating Northside 44-0. Hayden Petrulis, who you know is on our team, or is on the tackle boys football team as a freshman and has completed a pass on the JV team. Hayden also playing with the girls flag football team. Hayden was 12 of 23 for 228 and 4 touchdowns. 228 yards, 4 touchdowns. In that game, Dee Dee Dudley, 2 receptions, 75 yards, 2 TDs. Nina Lloyd, 2 interceptions. Nina Lloyd been clamping it down all year. So that was I don't know if that was their first or second game of the weekend. They also beat Schurz 40-6. So in that game, Hayden Petrulis 15 of 25 for 296 and 5. So if you had Hayden Petrulis in your fantasy football lineup, you were rolling with 9 touchdowns on the weekend. Marcella Martellana, 7 catches for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dee Dee Dudley in that game, 4 catches, 138 and 2. And Gabby Godinez, 4 sacks in that game, 5 tackles overall. Hayden, I talked to her before the game, and I believe, and again, some of this stuff is how stats are tabulated, but for the stats tabulated right now in the nation, in girls flag football, Hayden Petrulis is the leading freshman in the nation in yards passing.
That's excellent.
Yeah, so that is credit to Hayden. Love you, Hayden. Then, after those 2 wins over the weekend, a conference game against Simeon. So Sonali Angus, who plays about, 48 sports at Whitney Young, stepped back in at quarterback. Sonali had 131 yards and 2 touchdowns. Danielle Lamb with both of those touchdown receptions. Abby Plachka, 4 receptions, 56 yards. Freshman Annalisa Perez with a game-high 6 flag pulls and 1 interception. Haley Watson, 4 flag pulls, 1 pass broken up, 1 interception. They take on Lincoln Park tomorrow morning. Actually had a great opportunity. Head coach of the flag football team is Valerie Spann. So Coach Val, who works in the Whitney Young office, I was in there earlier this week, and it was fun talking to her. So she's really looking forward to the rest of the year. I think Taft is a team they lost to early in the year. She's really looking forward to being able to play them in the city playoffs. And we talked a little bit of flag football strategy because I'll tell you, and if Jason Hockman, if you're out there listening to this, Jason and I coach flag for a long time. Flag is really frustrating because guys like Joseph Clayton, who are flying out of nowhere and lighting people up, well, you can't do that in flag football. You have to grab that silly little flag, right? And so it's hard. It's like you can't play it as physically, but Coach Val said exactly how we used to teach, and that is one hand to the chest and then one hand to rip a flag.
I'll tell you. So when Joseph and his older brother Kenny were a lot younger, their mother was against them playing tackle football. They played flag, and as the game became increasingly more physical, she came to the conclusion that you might as well put pads on them to protect them.
Yep, and that's I actually agree. Again, as being somebody who coached flag football, and it's there can be a lot of contact out there, and you don't have any equipment on.
Shout out to Kyle White and the Junior Flag Football League, JFL. Used to spend a lot of Friday nights in Sheridan Park. He had it divided up into 6 fields, and there were 3 sets of games going on. Made for a really fun night over in Little Italy.
All right. Soccer update. So that's my segue to Jason Hockman, who provides me with a weekly soccer update. And as you know, Whitney Young Soccer just playing a ton of games early in the season. So Young kept up its intense schedule with 4 games in 7 days. A critical week for the Dolphins with 3 of those 4 games against conference foes. Young answered the bell, going 4-0 on the week and setting up a showdown against Taft on Wednesday for the conference title. So soccer already queuing up conference titles because of, I think, long city playoffs, long soccer playoffs. So they will be facing off against Taft. So during the week, Young defeated Munchen 5-0, which was and last year's city semifinalist North Grand 6-1. And then defeated Marine Leadership 2-0 and Chicago Lab School 5-1. Chicago's leading goal scorer, Rish Krushkal, continues to pace Young's offense with 4 goals this week and 14 on the season. This week's action saw last season's leading goal scorer, Cole Hockman, getting going, netting 6 goals. Cole now has 9 on the season. So Young will build on their 4-0 week and 8-4 overall record with a contest at Maine West, and then, as we mentioned, at Taft on Wednesday for the conference crown. So looking forward to that.
The success that the Whitney Young athletic teams are having speaks to, I don't know if everybody's aware, but every day with the football team has a theme, and Coach Finger sends an email out, and just listening to you talk about the different successes, Barry, it reminded me of what he wrote about today in his Friday message, and the fact that the young people, as he calls them, as he calls Whitney Young students, have had to compete from a very early stage. They competed in the classroom. They competed to get into Whitney Young, and they continue to compete in the classroom and on the athletic field, in the athletic arena. And it just speaks to the drive that these young people have, that they have success in the classroom, they have success in athletics, they have success in service, and it just speaks to the high quality of students here at Whitney Young.
Yep, School of Champions. Say it for a reason. So let me continue. That's a great setup for volleyball. So big match, rivalry match against Lane Tech last night. So it was a whiteout night for the fans. and the Dolphins came away with a 2-1 victory over Lane Tech, including a 30-28 thriller. So I think volleyball goes to 25, so that's like you got to win by 2. So 30-28. I saw a little bit of that on Instagram. Saw Principal Ricky Harris out there high-fiving people after that game. So great electric atmosphere at Whitney Young. So the Dolphin volleyballers still undefeated in conference play. They also had a 2-zip win over Lindblom earlier this week, defending their 2022 CPS championship. Girls tennis, I want to try to get some names, but they're just wiping things up with girls tennis. So another big win over Lincoln Park, and I think from what I can gather, at least within conference play, they are undefeated. And then on boys golf, a 22-stroke win over Lincoln Park with Henry Ryland, the defending Chicago Public League champion, leading the way with a 37. So great week for Dolphin sports. That not gonna say it, but we're off to a good start here on Saturday night to conclude, or Friday night to conclude this. Although we do have girls flag football in action. Chicagoland football. Last week was a little bit of a snoozer on games, right?
That's an understatement.
But this week, a bunch of big-time games. So going on right now over at Mount Carmel, number 8, St. Rita, taking on Mount Carmel. So that's a conference matchup. Talked a lot about Mount Carmel as they played Morgan Park early in the year. Their junior quarterback, Jack Elliott, I watched some film of him. He looks like a winner, taking over for Blaney Dowling, who was their quarterback last year. They've got Darian Dupree, who's going to Wisconsin in the backfield, along with Alonzo Manning II going to Army, and facing off against St. Rita tonight. Rita came in undefeated as well. We got Loyola, led by quarterback Ryan Fitzgerald, taking on Brother Rice tonight. So number 2 Loyola against Brother Rice. Last week, Fitzgerald. Actually, I don't have his stats. I thought it did. Marist Brother Rice is led by Navy commit Randall Nowden. And then, well, I'll leave that one for last. Naz versus IC Catholic. So interesting game there because Naz, just like they did last year. Last year, I think they started out 0-3 or 0-4, eventually rallying to a 5A. I think they were 5A state title. So they started off the year 0-3. They've lost to Kankakee, York, and Montini. So of those, Kankakee and York are both top 10 teams. Oh, Scott's going to start singing some Neil Diamond on me, so I better keep talking here. IC Catholic, led by KJ Parker. It's a running back going to Iowa, and tight end Ethan Carner going to Texas A&M. Here's a little all of my obscurity. Do you know that 3 of the top 10 recruited players in the senior class, at least in Illinois, in the Chicagoland area, are tight ends?
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, I bet you weren't. So those
that's actually kind of shocking.
It is. So Christian Benecure, and I think he's at Marion Central Catholic. He's the number 3 rated prospect in the state. He is going to Clemson. Carner, who I just mentioned, going to Texas A&M, and then Grant Steck, who's at Jacobs, and he's committed to the University of Wisconsin. So 3 guys, 3 tight ends in the state, in the greater Chicagoland area. Got to stretch a little bit to get all of them in, but that's what's going on the recruiting front. So I saved the last one, Kenwood versus Simeon tomorrow at Gately. So 1:30 game. Kenwood, and again, you want to go and see some D1 talent. So Kenwood loaded up. 4-star edge rusher Marquise Lightfoot committed to the U. And then Amarian Stewart, the transfer from Bolingbrook. Amarian going to Michigan. So they're on the Kenwood side. And then if you look over at Simeon, Mike Schenbieler is a guy, 27 offers. He's a D lineman, Illinois, Purdue, Oregon. And then Chris Burgess is their other lineman. He's a 4-star. And I was going through the list. Bama, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Coach Prime.
Small-time programs.
That's right. That's right. So that's going on. If you don't have anything on your schedule tomorrow, head on over to Gately, 1:30 kick. In the Chicago Public League, games we have going on, we already mentioned Morgan Park beating Phillips last night. We've got Taft at Lane. So this, we're starting into the transitive property of things, right? We start looking at teams we've played, see how they did against teams that we might play in the future. So be interesting to see how Taft does. Taft is a team very much dominated on the senior side last year. So we'll see how they go against Lane. UIC Bulls at Clark tomorrow. Amundsen versus Westinghouse. We play Westinghouse next week. That is a big-time game on our schedule. So we'll see what they do against newly anointed Red Division foe Amundsen. Kenwood at Simi I mentioned, and then Perspectives at Hyde Park. If we look back at last week, Lane beat Hyde Park 32-14. We do not face Lane this year. We do face Hyde Park in a few weeks. Simeon 28, Bulls Prep 12. Westinghouse, a close game. So again, back to the transitive property. Westinghouse 25, Perspectives 18. So that was the Dolphins beat Perspectives 28-8. So I'm not sure what we can glean from that, but we'll glean a heck of a lot more when we're in person next week at Rockne, right back here, for a home game against Westinghouse. Kenwood, big win, 64-0 over Clark. And Taft, as I mentioned, 28-0 over Brooks last week.
Got to give a shout out to the DJ. The music has been eclectic and, if I dare say, pretty good.
You're dancing. I see you moving over there, Scott Clayton. I can see what's your go-to move like when you're at a wedding? What's a go-to?
I just keep it tight, side to side. Arms.
Just bounce to the bass, man. Just bounce to the bass.
Snap to the beat. Don't embarrass my wife.
All right, let me give you some first half stats. As the horn sounds, we're going to get ready to move into the third period. So Brian Barrett, father of four-star long snapper Ben Barrett, and our crack statistician. I think he's a four-star statistician.
Crack is not the right term. He
four-star statistician.
Four-star.
Brian Barrett, absolutely.
Yeoman's effort.
So Curie led the way in time of possession, as we know. 15 minutes, 36 seconds for Curie. Whitney Young, 8 minutes, 24 seconds. First down, Whitney Young led the way, 5 first downs. Curie did pick up 3 first downs in that first half. Rushing yards, 53 yards for Whitney Young, -4 for Curie. So winning that battle. Passing yardage, 102 yards for Newman and the wide receivers, 7 yards for Curie. So total yards, 146 for Whitney Young. Curie is skating in there at 1 yard of total offense. Newman, 7 of 10 for 102. And the passing touchdown, rushing, Clayton leads the way, 5 rushes, 33 yards, and a touchdown. Newman, 1 rush, 4 yards, and a touchdown. Max Warner, 3 for 16 yards. On the receiving side of things, Rankin, 4 catches, 57 yards. Gray, 1 catch, -1. Clayton, 1 for 17. Duhan, 1 for 29 yards, and the touchdown.
If we can catch Val Warner doing the Casper slide down in the front row.
It is kind of like, I do feel like we're at a wedding. We're stomping it out. I'm trying to see if any players are doing this.
Somebody's twerking.
I think I saw a little Big Baba getting into the action there. Brian gave me a fun fact. In the first 18 minutes of the game, of game time, which was probably about 50 minutes of real time, Whitney Young ran 8 total offensive plays. So again, that was the first drive, which stalled out on some penalties. Then a quick score after that, after the short punt. Clayton went in for the touchdown, and then the fumbled kickoff. Right? Is that what got us there? Anyway, that's where we are. We are there, 22-0. The Dolphins will receive the kickoff in the second half.
Did you give Bennett Newman credit?
On what?
The touchdown run.
Oh, yeah, I got him. He got in there. He got one carry, 4 yards in the tutty. His second one on the year. I'll work those things in. I try not to be too dad biased, but I am.
The rushing touchdown leader of the team. It looks like we're about to get this second half underway.
I will say, I think Newman and Hood are. They missed on that long touchdown run. I mean, eventually it was a touchdown, but that's one that they want back. So right now, not many times that the Whitney Young Dolphins are up 22-0, and Anthony Hood doesn't have a catch. Might be all right for Anthony to take a little bit of time off this week. He touched the ball on just about every single play last week, running out of that Wildcat formation, playing defense against Morgan Park, and then executing just a brilliant catch on a fade from Newman for that touchdown pass against Morgan Park. So, Anthony, I know it'd be nice to rack up some stats here, but we got the rest of the year to do that as well. We'll see if we can get him. We'll see if we get him a little bit here in the second half. And he did have that nice punt return. So back deep to receive. Nazir Rankin. So Naz is throwing me off because he usually had the blue cleats on, but went away from the blue cleats, which were always easy for me to see. I think Maxwell Warner are deep, and the Curie Condors and Callaway get ready to kick it away. It's a short kick, and fielded by, I think, Duenas. We'll see. Yep. So fielded by Dominic Duenas. Duenas last week had a super heads-up play on a short kick like that, fair catching it. That one Dominic wanted to. He was sniffing out. He was channeling his JV days as a running back on that, and wanted to put something on the board.
Yeah, I think that was an example of if he maybe had turned it out north-south a little bit, he might have picked up a few more yards and maybe broken it.
So Newman at quarterback, Clayton next to him. Gassa Gray. Pitch to Clayton.
He's got blockers.
He's got a ton of blockers. And Joseph Clayton is off to the races. Out to the Dolphin, or the Condor 35-yard line. That was a pass, yeah.
Carried by Dolphins number 33, Joseph Clayton.
Yep, so, and Dolphins they're gonna work on some things here. So they're going tempo right away. So back to the line.
30-yard line, 1st and 10, Dolphins.
Newman, QB, Clayton behind him, 3 receivers to his right, Hood to his left. Newman with some time. Newman squirting out, trying to get back. He's now thrown it completed, which is
out of bounds.
Okay, so out of bounds, it came back in, but there was going to be a hold in the backfield. So Newman kept it alive, eventually getting it out over to Gassa, but out of bounds on that play, and a hold. And this is where the rule change comes in, which is good because it'll just be a 10-yard penalty. They're going to mark that off to put it at the Curie 45-yard line.
Last year, that would have been
back in the old days, that would have been bad. That would have been
like a 30-yard.
Well, it would have been a spot foul, and so the where the flag was the 45. So that would have been backed up all the way to the Dolphin 45, and we would have had first down and a county to go.
Yeah, that was not a penalty last year. That was a felony.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
So 1st and 20.
Yep, so 1st and 20. Gray, Gassa closest to us. Hood, Rankin far to the right. That's a pitch over to Hood. Hood's got a blocker. And wrestled down inside the 40-yard line, about the 38-yard line.
I think they're giving him a gain of 7.
All right, so a gain of 7. That was something I think they wanted to exploit a little more. They had the first pass of the game to Rankin that he didn't corral, but I think they saw where there's some cushion that Curie gives on these guys, and I think it's sort of an option for Newman to get those guys right off the bat. So handoff to Clayton, and a really nice tackle in the backfield. Number 28, Matt Allen, came flying through there for a big TFL. So that's going to bring up 3rd down. So Dolphins back on the line. They've got to get to the 25-yard line for a first down. So they've got about 22 yards to go. Newman looking deep. I think he's got Hood, and Hood makes the catch. Actually, was it Hood or Rankin?
I can't see that far. I think it is Hood. Rankin.
Yeah, yep. I mean, sorry, Anthony. I should just know the way you corralled that it was Anthony Hood. That was a heck of a play. Those guys have been hooking up on that fade pattern. Throw the fade. Throw the fade. That's for you, Jason Perez.
So we got first and goal here.
So we'll have to see. There was I think
offside.
I think Curie jumped into the neutral zone.
I think this tempo has really kind of thrown Curie for the loop. They don't seem to be responding well. They had a couple of great positive plays, tackles for loss, but the Dolphins
the penalty
really
and the
pass.
Yep. So that has Brian. What was the yardage on that pass, Newman to Hood? What was the yardage on that pass? 36 yards. Sorry, Tony McHale. He would have had that in his added up in his head. I couldn't do it. I had to ask my statistician. So Newman, Clayton to his left, 3 receivers right. Newman rolls left, looking. He's got. Whoa!
Rankin leveled.
Rankin and a shoulder down and a Condor down. Rankin into the end zone on a touchdown.
The laws of nature just aren't working out here. A Dolphin taking a Condor out like that.
No, that was so Nas turned it upfield, met the defender at the goal line, and in for the touchdown. So on the night, you've got Clayton with a touchdown run, Newman with a touchdown run, and then touchdown passes to Duhan and now to Nazir Rankin.
In this game, you're either the hammer or the nail, and you definitely want to be the hammer.
Yeah, it's good to be on that side of the hammer and nail equation. That's my preference.
So that was Condor player number 6, Antonio Henry. He got up and he's walking off on his own. So
all
that's
right,
a
good to
sign.
see that. Good to see that. And it's tough. I mean, I feel the Curie, they're, as I talked about, our first third of the season being challenging. They're going to have some games coming up on their schedule where they're playing some of those other teams that have just been elevated to the red division, and they're going to have some opportunities there. So while they're down 28-0 right now with Miles Bardsma getting ready for the extra point, Barrett to
It's good.
Conrad to Bardsma's hybrid for the extra point.
Dolphins lead 29-0.
29-0 here with 9:37 left in the third quarter.
Let's see. Might start seeing a few Dolphin substitutions.
Yep, and I didn't get to that during halftime, but if we look at mention Westinghouse coming up next week, that is an extremely important game on our schedule and our push for the playoffs. So Westinghouse next week, right here at Rockne. That's listed as a 7 o'clock start. We'll have to check to make sure. Westinghouse qualified for state last year. Askaya Bully, their all-state quarterback, kind of picked us apart last year. A big final play for a touchdown or final offensive play. They've also have Dwayne Brooks, an all-city defensive back, coming back. So a lot of talent on that Westinghouse team that we will face next week. Bardsma tees it up, kicks it away. Line shot to the 13-yard line. Curie corrals it. And still on his feet across the right about to the 30, maybe the 27-yard line.
Dolphins had an opportunity there.
Yep. I was going to say the first wave of Dolphins didn't bring down the ball carrier, but the second wave got to him.
across our 3 sports seasons. For more information on our sports
So
program,
Curie
please
will
visit our
start
website
at the
CBS
35. We'll check out to see if any, I don't think any changes yet on that defensive set. So Duhan and Hood still at the deep safety spots. Javon Hobbs and Max Warner at the corners. Jason Perez, Tyson Hayes on the outside linebackers. Clayton and Gray in the middle linebacker spots. Looks like Nick Dale checking back in on the nose. Bob and Efesimi Opadelli, and I think Marcus Woods.
Timeout Curie. Wonder what happened there.
Oh, I did not reset my timeouts for the second half. 3 for each team, now 2 for Curie.
Timeout Condors. This is their first timeout.
So looks like they didn't like what they saw on the Dolphin defense. So they might be making some changes. The Dolphin defense right now is looking pretty loose. Coach Finger patting a number of people on the head. So I think the confidence is still there.
Definitely a lot of confidence.
We'll drop kick Murphys over the PA.
Oh yeah, yep.
I told you my music taste is
You're diverse, man. This is good stuff. I didn't know the band. I know the song, but
Dropkick Murphys, man.
I know. Well, all my friends will tell you. I've extremely limited scope of knowledge. Most of it is what you heard at halftime. All right, Curie, first down and 10 from the 27. Bam. Clayton
there with help from, couldn't see who that was.
So ball carrier on that was Antonio Henry. So Henry had gone out before, so good to see him back in there.
Clayton and Tyson Hayes.
Loss of 1 yard. Second and long. Condors.
So with that D-line doing what they're doing and really controlling things, and the way they did it last week against Morgan Park really allows these linebackers to shoot some gaps. And so that's what we've seen. We've seen Gray, Clayton, Tyson Hayes, Jason Perez cleaning a lot of stuff up tonight in their positions.
Going to I formation.
So you got 2 backs, handoff in the tail of the hand. Clayton came all the way around, got a hand on a shoe, misdirected a guy. I think now we'll give some credit to some D linemen and give them some tackles. So definitely Bob and Efesimi Opadelli. I think Gray also in there as well.
Yeah, Curie's definitely stacking the box. I think they've gone away from their pass game.
Yeah, and I think on film, again, I didn't have a chance to watch it, but I thought they ran some option stuff. We haven't seen any of that tonight.
Looks like they're going back to the I-4. Oh, they've got.
Yep. So 2 receivers.
Okay, 2 receivers. I thought they were going trips.
Now they're going to go trips to the right. So 3 receivers. They're confusing me. They're confusing
a lot of movement.
themselves. There's a lot of movement. A lot of working some things out. So 2 receivers left. 2 receivers, right? And I think Curie's going to take another timeout.
Second timeout.
Timeout Condors. This is their second timeout.
I think that was a matter of confusion.
It definitely was. They were running on. So maybe we'll. What's your prediction for the next song that they're going to play here?
Oh, I can't call it. If I knew that, I mean, I wouldn't be here. I'd be down in Medina Temple at the Bally's Temporary Casino.
CBS Scores proud to offer exciting sports
I think it even caught the DJ off guard. He's like,
yeah, he wasn't ready to go. He's like, are they going to take another timeout here with 7:41 left in the second half? This is really this is gonna press even me to talk for this long tonight. I'm struggling, and we're just barely into the third quarter.
Not even halfway through.
Yeah, well, if I really start reeling, any of the people there on any of my text threads, just maybe throw out Throw out a topic for me to go off on here a little bit.
3rd and 10.
All right, looks like they're lined up and ready to go.
All right, so here we go. Callaway, quarterback for the Condors. 2 receivers to his left, 2 to his right, running back to his left. Nice run. Nice run there by number 5, Bryant Johnson.
Clayton got in the backfield and lost his footing.
Yep, brought down by Quinn Duhan.
I've actually got material now to deride him.
So just short of a first down, so I think that brings up 4th down.
Actually, they gave
Oh,
them
they
the
gave him
first down.
first. All right, so moving it along.
Condors, 1st down.
So Condors pick up a first down and that 3rd and long run by Johnson. So good job of him avoiding the early pressure from the Dolphins, getting outside. So Duhan making the tackle. But the Condors with a first down at their 38-yard line. Callaway with Tyrese Hunt, I believe. Number 3, Tyrese Hunt next to Callaway in the backfield. Again, 2 receivers left, 2 receivers right. Dolphins. Callaway running to the side, brought down by Joseph Gray, the sophomore linebacker.
That was good pursuit.
Yep, Gray doing a nice job checking back in there after injury at the Hope game, but he's been working his way back and was back on the practice field all week, and you can see great future ahead for him. I mean, he was kind of forced into action right off the bat last year as a freshman at a defensive back position, and you could just see week after week after week he just kept getting better and better, and you know he's still growing. I mean, he's a kid that's probably 15 years old, so Joseph now 5'11", 170, and we're going to see a lot of him over his Dolphins career. Just a sophomore right now. So loss of 2 on that play.
Ball's on
Fumble.
the ground.
And I think brought in by the Dolphins. I'm not sure who came up with it.
Well, Nick Dale just gave the ball to the official.
All right, so let's give it to Nick Dale.
Fumble. Recovered by the Dolphins.
All right.
Dolphins ball.
So yeah, little mishandle on the handoff between Callaway and number 4 Deshaun Fernandez, and Big Nick Dale is taking care of business.
I just received a picture from my brother, and my mother, Donna Clayton, is glued to the television set watching the Dolphins.
Well, as
Put
well
in
she
work.
should. As well she should. So here we've got maybe a little trickeration. We got Hood in the backfield. Either they're going to the Wildcat or something else is up Coach Finger's sleeve. So Wildcat run for Hood. Hood taking it inside. Nice move. Whoop, whoop. Touchdown run for Anthony Hood.
There we go. He heard you talking about him.
And I was
halftime.
worried about getting those piling the stats on the board. So Anthony with a nice run, then slammed on the brakes. They were playing some. They were playing a little Top Gun music before. Anthony slammed on the brakes and watched 2 Condors fly by.
Nice.
Yay.
Nice. I like that. I see what you did there. You're going to do what?
Permission to buzz the tower.
Extra point attempt, Dolphins.
Permission denied. All right. Barrett, 4-star, long snapper. Conrad, Holder, Bardsma.
Again, another solid kick.
Bam. Extra point, good.
We are actually 4 points away from a continuous clock.
Yes, we are.
6-0.
So I wasn't going to bring it up because I didn't want to jinx things. But yes, if the Dolphins or the Condors, for that matter, any team up by 40 points, we go to a continuous clock. And in IHSA, that is absolutely continuous. It never stops. And that's where we missed it in the first game of the year because it went so fast. So it definitely doesn't stop. I don't even think it stops for injuries.
It does not.
It just keeps rolling. So 5:05 left here in the third quarter. Dolphins up. So let me calculate that. I think that is Anthony's 19th career touchdown.
And a spectacular career.
Absolutely. Gonna keep piling up those numbers. Those numbers have come rushing, they have come receiving, they have come passing, and they have come on a fumble return off of a interception that Pat McHale was returning at this very Rockne field that flew up in the air. Anthony picked up, took in for a touchdown.
Whistle, they blew the play
Right
dead.
on the play.
I think we might have had some offsides. So one of the Dolphins got started a little bit early there.
A little too anxious. So, Mom, if you're listening, your grandson has been putting in a little work.
Yep, he's been doing a nice job. Nice job on both sides of the ball tonight. Joseph Clayton with a touchdown run, and we've called him out numerous times on the defensive side of the ball. So Dolphins kick team teeing up, ready to go here. Barsma now from the 35-yard line. DeMille, champion. Alan Espinosa. Tyson Hayes out there on the special teams unit.
Ball on the ground again.
Collected at the 25 by a Curie Condor. Wrestled down at the 32-yard line.
Good job, Dolphins, wrapping him up. Looks like Boubacar is coming in on the line.
Yep, so Boubacar Berry. Nose tackle extraordinaire, number 53. So he's in. First team defense still out there.
Juan Cepeda's in on the line.
Yep, so Cepeda, Boubacar, Babanafasimi Opedeli in on the line. And then the rest of the lineup as we've reeled it off for you before. Hood, Duhan.
Should we just start calling Baba Tickle Me Elmo?
Tickle Me Elmo. I don't think he'd like that. You can call him that. So Curie takes over at the 30. First down, Callaway, the quarterback, checking things over. Inside handoff, going nowhere.
Who was that on the Dolphins defense? He was in the backfield before the quarterback got the ball.
Fumble. They're saying fumble. And I think that's Babanafasimi Opedeli coming up with the ball. And we'll see.
Got a Condor down on the play.
Yep. So Baba had the ball out of there, so we'll have to see if I haven't seen a signal. I think that they're calling it second down.
Looks like a loss of 2.
Looks like Antonio Henry coming off again. We've seen him limp off earlier in the game. So
There was
Henry.
someone on the right side of the Dolphins defense. They were at the second level before the ball even reached the quarterback's hand.
Yeah, so you got Cepeda, Nick Dale. All right, so Nick Dale back in at the nose now. So, yeah, we'll have to see who is lined up. So, again, Gray and Clayton from those linebacker positions have definitely been living in the backfield. I'll say this. I mean, you still have to stay gap sure on this, right? And so if you're Jason Perez and Tyson Hayes, well, yeah, you want to stack up some stats. You still also have to take away that outside edge. Don't let the Condors get outside. 4 minutes left here in the third quarter, 36-0. Whitney Young leading the Curie Condors. Curie trying to figure some things out. Callaway directing a receiver over to the line, now lining up in the tight end spot. I think you're going to get a flag. I think they're going to call a delay of game on the Curie Condors. So that'll back them up 5. Back them up 5.
I just had to explain to my wife via text why
Flag called against the Condors.
Suggested we
5-yard
call
penalty.
Baba Tickle Me Elmo.
Oh yeah, that if you didn't hear us earlier in the show, I could see where that would catch you off guard. It is the blackout theme tonight, so see some Whitney Young, and I'm not watching here. I should do a good job of calling what's going on. The big old whole team in tackling Callaway on that play.
No gain.
But blackout theme for the Whitney Young fans, student fans that are here tonight. It was whiteout theme last night for the volleyball match. I think that was Baba coming through there again, getting some good penetration up front.
At the end of that play, he came rolling out. I think he was embellishing a push by one of the Curie players. The student section is getting going.
All right, so Callaway, the Condors quarterback. Dolphins look like they might be rushing 3 on this one, dropping some people back in coverage on 3rd and long, and they do, but Nick Dale gets good pressure. Oh, that one is going to be right through the hands of a Dolphin defender, off of a Condor receiver to another receiver. I think that's the second, maybe the second reception they've had tonight where it was off of a deflection.
Pass complete.
Yeah, they picked up about 5 yards. It's still
And I
4th
don't-
and 10.
You know, I'll look back on these things tomorrow and say, oh, how did I miss who that was? And I don't know if that was Hood coming downhill from that safety position, who wasn't able to corral the interception, or if I think on that side probably Maxwell Warner was the corner. So one of those two guys. So now Hood and Warner are back. Hood and Rankin are back for the punt. High snap. Nice punt.
Nice punt. Got it away.
Rankin is going to let that bounce out of bounds at the Dolphin 43-yard line. So nice job by the Curie punter there. They've gotten all their punts away, but some of them have been challenged in the distance department. So there, launched one back into across the 50-yard line. So I like how these referees, they always keep it easy on themselves.
And put it on the
Just put it on the big line. I mean, it rolled out at like 3 yards beyond that, but let's just make it easy. Let's put it at the 40. So Newman with Warner now as a running back, I believe. Newman, the quarterback, looking. He's got some time. He's throwing deep, going deep, overthrown, looking for Joseph Gray.
Pass incomplete.
Got to give a shout out to the big uglies on the Dolphin offensive line.
Absolutely. They've been doing a great job there all day. I mean, there have been some passes where Newman he was able to light up the charcoal grill even, not even a gas grill back there.
No lighter fluid, just newspaper.
Absolutely. Had some Johnsonville brats grilled up while he was waiting for a receiver to break open. Hood to the far left of Newman, closest to us, Rankin in the slot, Gassa and Gray. That is a handoff, I'm going to say, to Maxwell Warner.
It's a nice tackle.
Yep. So a little pitch over there to Warner, who picked up 7 on the play, bringing up 3rd down, 3rd and 3. 3rd and 3 from the 48-yard line.
Gain of 7 yards. 3rd and 3. Dolphins.
So let's see. Dolphins want to use some of these opportunities, some of these play situations, convert some 3rd downs, see what the playbook, see what Eddie Boucher wants to open up on this. Again, Hood and Rankin closest to us on your screen. Newman, the quarterback. Warner behind him. Blitzer comes in. Warner did a nice job of picking up. Newman, nice job of getting out of the pocket and then delivering, I think, probably Harrison Gassa over there, right? Yep.
That was excellent execution all around.
Yeah, absolutely. So Blitzer coming free. Max Warner, the sophomore, picked up the blitz. Newman did a nice job with his feet getting outside, and Harrison Gassa sat down over there, picked up the first down.
Working this clock, taking us down to the end of the third.
Yep, so that'll be the end of the third quarter. Dolphins leading 36-0.
That has a nice ring to it.
At the end of the third quarter, Curie 0, Whitney Young 36.
Remy, how you doing over there on the camera? All right, I know a lot of people mentioned the camera work. Remy is dialed in over here, and doing. I watched of course, like I watch with the sound off our live stream. Lord knows.
Can't stand to hear the sound of the guy talking.
Oh, if I could just mute myself and listen to you, Scott, I'd be okay. But anyway, we're great to have Remy here with us, and I appreciate when we hear from people around the country, around Dolphin Nation, for these games. It's a heck of a lot of fun for us to put them together. Heck of a lot of fun for us to hear from all of you out there.
We've got an all-star team working here.
Now we're rocking some Quiet Riot, by the way.
I had to shut up so I could listen to it, and kind of got lost in it. It's taking every fiber of my being not to sing, and to all the folks out there watching the game and listening, you are welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. So Quiet Riot, come on, feel the noise. Dolphins going to look for some noise to Joseph Gray. Gray keeps his feet, still on his feet. Nice block downfield across the 35-yard line.
Dolphins right now are just imposing their will.
Yep, so they saw some things on film that they could make work, some of those quick looks to those wide receivers. So Newman got it out, and then Gray made things happen. Sophomore wide receiver. So Gray, Rankin, Gassa. So Newman checking in with Rankin on the right-hand side. Anthony Hood one-on-one on the top. Newman looking that way. Newman going deep. Hood dropped his guy and takes it in for a touchdown. Nice pitch and catch. Hood dropped the defender on him. Newman gave the shimmy and then the shake to Hood for the touchdown.
I don't think it gets any better than that.
Really nice look for those two guys. They spent a lot of time together, a lot of time in the off season, training 3 nights a week out in the suburbs. Anthony puts in a lot of work on his own in the weight room early on. Extra point. Drilled by Miles Bardsma. So now the clock is going to roll.
And there it goes. Brian, how many yards was that on that pass? 37 yards.
37-yard pass. Newman to Hood. And the clock is rolling. 10:13, 10:09, 10:08. I won't count it down all the way for you, but anyway, the clock is rolling because of the score. We're at 43-0 right now. Dolphins over the Curie Condors. I think now we'll probably I see Von Conrad running down here, warming up his laser right arm. So I'm guessing that we're going to get Conrad to come in. I wonder if that's is this Conrad? Well, he won't get the ball until the next time the Dolphins have it. But this is pretty good walk-up music. This is what Edwin Diaz uses when he walks in at the Mets games. So yeah, I think we'll try to do our best for everybody at home. If you have a youngster on Jason Perez dancing on the sidelines. If you got a youngster on the Dolphins team, we will try to make sure we are telling you who is on the field, because we might have some of the second and third teamers coming in. Kickoff corralled by Curie at the 35-yard line. So that was Bardsma Barsma with the 5-wood deep in his stance under the tree. I know that one well. I got that one all worked out. Newman family, you know what I'm talking about. I got that in my bag.
Got Joseph Clayton with his helmet off. He was dancing a little bit.
Yep, so Harrison Gossa checking in on the defensive side.
Ball marks the 35-yard line. 1st and 10.
Alex Oshesky in on the D line. I think we'll do our best getting everybody's name called. Javon Hobbs still in at the outside. So Hobbs and Warner staying in at their corner positions, but Gossa Oshesky on the D line.
Got Raytang Scope.
Oh, yeah. Rayton Scotemere, linebacker of the future for the Dolphins in there. Nice upfield. Dominic Duenas gets the pressure, and then Gossa off the backside with the tackle.
That was great pursuit. Harrison came all the way from the opposite side.
Yep, so he's playing
that
that outside. Well, he might even be on a line position.
1 yard.
Will the Thrill DeMille also in there on defense right now. Aaron Champion checking in. Aaron filled in for admirably for Joseph Gray the last couple weeks. Champion putting in some great JV time, but really a solid varsity performer this year. Special teams and also playing in the linebacker role. So loss of 1 on the play. 2nd down and 11. Yep, clock rolling. Under 7 minutes left here in the game. Callaway under center. Pitch. Big pursuit by Duenas. But Curie, running back, still on his feet, fighting for it. Up to the 50-yard line. So Curie, given what they've had to face this year, these guys want to put a touchdown on the board. So that was Darius Townsell on the carry, kept his feet going, number 12. So Duenas, Scotemere at those middle linebacker spots.
Let's see if the Dolphins can hold here.
Yep, 6 minutes left. 6 minutes left.
There was some talk about not wanting to give up any points.
Yeah,
pitch a shutout.
Yep, it would be nice for the defense to do that. Regardless, a great performance here by the Whitney Young Dolphins. Callaway under center. Handoff up the middle. Nice job by that D line.
Good. Oh, got a little scuffle going on.
Gain of 1 yard. 3 yards.
So I think that was Duenas in on the tackle, number 13.
So if the cooler heads prevail and everybody can keep their composure.
Yep, absolutely. Adrian Del Villar also out there on the line. So Adrian, a group out of Alexander Oshesky, Iacunia Allen Espinosa, Adrian Del Villar, Dylan Pericini, who Dylan's seen a lot of time filling in on both the offensive defensive side already. A lot of those guys are going to be really good offensive linemen for this Whitney Young program in the future, offense and defense. So those guys are out there right now. Callaway waiting for the snap. Handoff. Callaway keeps it to the outside, pursued nicely by Javon Hobbs.
That was an excellent tackle.
So Hobbs has shown a lot, is just picking things up again. The senior.
Got a Dolphin down.
Yep, so the senior basketball player who has started playing football this year. So I've seen a lot from those guys just week over week again, picking up the nuances, the run support. So Hobbs Rankin had an incredible play last week where he came up in run support against Morgan Park. And those are young guys really putting in some good practice time and showing on the field. So I guess we were wrong because I thought it didn't stop for injuries, but it must stop for injuries. So we've got to see who is down for the Dolphins, but the clock is stopped with 4:28.
I couldn't quite see who it was. I think it's a lineman, but I couldn't quite see a number or what happened for that matter.
Yep, so we're hoping for the best. Trainer Sam is out there. Coach Finger out there.
Looks like they're working on that left leg.
All right, Coach Finger going to walk over to his D unit right now.
So since we won't be talking about Green Bay, let's talk about Aaron Rodgers. What were your thoughts?
Whoa, man, that was a tough one, and just crazy scenario. I couldn't even believe it. Like, I just sat down to watch the game, and Bennett had just gotten home from practice, had just finished dinner, or actually just got home from practice, and I went upstairs and I said, guess what? And it looked bad right off the get-go. I thought it was an ACL, it was an Achilles tendon. So, our best Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that's a tough injury to come back from as a 40-year-old. I wouldn't want to come back from that as a 53-year-old. Nice job by the defensive line of the Dolphins.
Loss of 3 yards. 4th and 10. Condors.
So Boubacar Berry in there at the nose.
This is definitely 4-down territory for the Condors.
Absolutely 4-down territory for the Condors. So running up to the 3:30 mark. Ball at the 50-yard line. 4th down. I know Von Conrad wants them to get going here. He's anxious to get in.
Safe to say he's chomping at the bit.
He is. He is, and I'm sure a few of those other guys. We'll have to see if...
now, how is this not a delay of game?
Yeah, well, because we can watch it on the clock, at least at this point. I mean, I said it was below 3:30. Now it's below 3. Might be giving Curie Condors a little leeway right now. So 4th down, 4th and 10. So handoff and wrestle down.
So
nice job, Dolphins. So I think they're going to want to get things going here to try to give some snaps to some of these guys. We got Efren Solano checking in on the offensive line. Kinley Allen Espinoza, who's played some special teams, getting out there. I think Dominic Duenas is coming in at running back. Adrian Del Villar on the line. As I mentioned, Conrad going to be out there. Harrison Gossa in at a wide receiver.
That's a big target
position. So here, Von Conrad checking in. Von, touchdown pass earlier this week in the JV game to Miles Bardsma. So Conrad, Duenas next to him, trips to the right. Conrad going to keep it himself. Conrad, positive yardage across the 45-yard line to the 44.
Nicely done.
Got some cowbells going. The cowbells are out.
Nice job, Vaughn.
All right, we're going to, as we're tallying up some of these numbers with the youngsters in the game, Newman finishes the night 14 of 18, 246, 3 touchdowns, along with 1 rushing touchdown. Hood, 3 receptions, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Also his rushing touchdown, 32 yards. Clayton, 25 rushing yards, 55 receiving yards. Clayton also with a touchdown run.
Brian, we don't get Newman's QBR, quarterback rating.
All right, so handoff from Conrad to Duenas there, stacked up nicely by the Condor line, so that'll bring up 3rd down.
40 seconds left.
40 seconds left. Conrad over getting the play from Coach Eddie Boucher. Let's see if Eddie told him to not run in so fast. Conrad strolling in.
3-6, Dolphins.
And I think that is going to be it.
Yep, so that is the ball game. 43-0. The Whitney Young Dolphins prevail tonight. Whitney Young goes to 2-2 on the season. Curie drops to 0-4. I talked a bit about tonight, about Westinghouse. So big time matchup next week. Westinghouse, one of those teams within our cluster. So within the cluster, so it's a big game, important game. Dolphins also go to 2-1 against Chicago Public League opponents. So that's important. Going back on the scoring recap for tonight, Clayton started off in the first quarter, 14-yard touchdown run. That was followed up by a safety, Tyson Hayes, tackling the quarterback, Curie quarterback in the end zone, putting the Dolphins up 9-0. Then we had Newman on a 4-yard run, so that was a 3rd and short from going for the 1 yard. Collected 4, and the tutty on that going up 15-0. Then Duhan, right at the end of the second quarter, Duhan a 29-yard rainbow pass from Newman. Then Rankin on a 5-yard pass from Newman, where Rankin lowered the boom at the end zone for the touchdown. Then Anthony Hood, who we were bemoaning about not piling up the stats in a big game like that, took out of the Wildcat formation, ran it in from 32 yards out, and then to cap off the scoring in the fourth quarter, Hood dropped his defender on a double move, and Newman delivered him a strike in the left corner of the end zone for the touchdown. Miles Bardsma on the night, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of 6 on his extra points. And there you go. That is the scoring recap. Scott, thanks a lot for hanging with me all night tonight. Really appreciate it. Appreciate all of you out there in Dolphin Land. Again, Westinghouse, we take on 7 o'clock right back here at Rockne next Friday night. We'll have the live stream, knock on wood, up and running. I want to thank Athletic Director Chris Cassidy, Whitney Young, Ricky Harris, of course, Principal Ricky Harris, who I heard was sporting an awful dapper Whitney Young themed suit the other night. I want to thank him for the support of Whitney Young. I want to thank my crew, Remy on the camera, Brian on the stats, Scott as my fearless wingman. And again, 43-0 win tonight for the Dolphins. Thanks, everybody. Have yourself a great weekend.
Have a good one.